Public. Hello, Mr.
Turn it off twice. I wanted to turn off the AI companion, so I'm just I don't want to do it.
It's probably not the right thing to do. It's now 7 o'clock. Let's call this meeting to order. I call this meeting to order. Roll call. Janine Goldwowski. Here. Becky Baisley. Here. Nancy Rosso. Absent. Holly Naylor. Here. Don Smith. Here. Kim Armstrong. Here. And myself, Bill Bolden. All right, with that being said, if you could all rise. So here this time. Please face the flag, place your hand over your heart, and let's recite the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve our agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion so prevails. Approval of the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve our consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion so prevails. Library Director's report.
Okay. Good evening. Let me find it in my file here. So I have a few updates since I wrote the report. I did want to look at it real quick. We mentioned a lot of the projects that are going on in here, and I write these the week before, so I read them last week. I mentioned the success of the Vintage Christmas in the Village. It was really a nice program. Just this week, the pictures that were taken with Santa got put online, and today some of the pictures of Mrs. Claus, or at least I saw them today. I never know I'm looking at those because I know they get posted different times. I want to specifically thank trustees who worked the event. Becky, Janine, and Holly each worked. We needed more adults in the room, and I appreciate you taking the time to do that. Because it was a weekend, it was hard to get a lot of staff, so thank you. There's a lot of updates in here. The main thing to know, did anyone have any questions about the conference I went to?
Did you think it was beneficial?
It was really interesting. I think it will be beneficial as we go through this project outside, because a lot of these things I knew, but I really enjoyed having time to meet with people. The part that really was interesting to me was the, and it sounds funny, but the environmental graphics and intuitive wayfinding, because we're talking about like how to help people find things, and there's a lot we could do. I already did signage in the building, but we could do a lot more with the way we code things so people know where things are. And so that I think could fit into some of my goals for the year. And it sounds very dry when you talk about it, but I think it's important when you have a big building with lots of different sections and things. So that's a part that I found really interesting. Touring the actual libraries was very interesting to me. I've been told one had an outdoor garden, and it was a little less than I'd expected, but maybe I had our plan in mind, correct? But I did learn a few things from talking to people, so it was a worthwhile event, and I just like to bring those up.
I was interested in the part about the cybersecurity thing. I didn't even think about that for the library. So
that was good for me to hear also. The person who gave that talk is someone who's really well known in libraries and like digital space. Marshall Breeding is his name, I believe, and he's like the cyber librarian. from back when like the internet was new. So I went to that one just because he's a big name and I wanted to hear what he said. And we are now contracting with a firm and they make us do these cyber security assessments, which I know can be annoying to the staff because they teach you about phishing, they teach you about all these different attacks that can happen. I personally can find them annoying, but I think it's worth knowing, at least as an administrator, the benefit to the organization for doing that training.
Yes.
And it also, I have questioned some of the things we are told we need to do because it's for security. And you think, well, it hasn't happened, but people know things are happening. So just like the iOS update on your phone, if you have a iPhone, it was annoying, but it was important. So that one I actually might come back to and show some of the staff some things for that. Because you always think it's fine until something goes wrong and then you're mad at the person for not preventing it. Right, so that was interesting. So then I have a few things that aren't in the update that I did write out so that I can make sure I got to them. The Finance Committee has, I think it's been in our notes, but I had sent our chart of accounts to the company that does our audit for a review. And that just came out of during the audit. I wanted to change some things around, but I didn't feel confident in how to do it, and I wanted a review. And that was timely because on December 4th of this month, December 4th, the state of Michigan issued an update to the Uniform Chart of Accounts for Michigan. So the instruction was, make sure you go through it with your accountant, and so it was good that I already had it out, and they hadn't returned it yet. So I asked them to make sure that got done, so I did just get it today. I haven't looked at it yet, but it came in today, and they said they were able to add that in, so that's good. I do plan to still have a meeting with that. Like, they gave me a draft. I haven't accepted it yet. I'll keep finance informed, but I think it was good timing.
Yeah, perfect.
That we already had it, so it won't be another fee. And chart of accounts is just a thing, if you know finance, it's all the lines that we put before the spending on all the reports, so that you know how we're spending our money. There's always a good update from community relations and strategic planning, the community engagement department that Liz runs. But over the past few days, we had a few ideas of things to just mention on your table, and then at the door for people that came, is a small bookmark thing about the garden club. So the Hartland Home and Garden Club has existed for a long time. Just this year, they decided they would like their relationship with the library to evolve into more of a Cromaine's Garden Club. And there's lots of reasons behind that, but they want to be based at the library. They take care of our garden in the front. They're willing and able to help us with whatever we do to the outdoor space. Not all of it, but they're going to help consult with me about what we're doing. So we've had some meetings. We're thinking of it as a relationship similar but different to the Friends of the Library, but it'll be the Library's Garden Club. So I don't think they're changing their name, but I just don't know if we've said that into the room yet. And so this is new PR that the library helps them put out. We are partnering with them to do expanded programming throughout the year. So that's a whole year's worth of programming. Basically, any questions about the club can be directed to my community relations staff that will help coordinate. We're still figuring out exactly who does what, but it's beneficial to us. I know some of you in the room are in the club, so thank you for your work. They're already planning next year, and there's some really great things on there. And again, I think that's been in a note, but we haven't told everybody. Two more things from community relations. Last month, I went over the annual report, and I mentioned how we're headed towards our 100th year, which seems far away, but it isn't. 2027 is the 100th anniversary of this library existing. So earlier this year, I tasked community relations with figuring out some kind of visual that could be permanent. I know with the 90th anniversary, those posters, there's one inside the door here about Cromaine, there's one over at the music hall, there's some others around. Those went up, and I don't know if anyone noticed, but we removed one of the display cases that was on the second floor as you came out of the elevator, just just because it wasn't getting great use, it wasn't a great location, but we have this blank space now when you come out of the elevator. And Liz and her department have decided and been working on some kind of permanent, I would say display, but more of an installation there that will go over visually and graphically the 100 years of the library and the community. So I wanted to say it once to everybody. Community relations will be hearing about it probably at our next meeting. We will be using some gift funds for that were earmarked at the 90th, looking toward the 100th. But it's pretty cool, and I wanted to make sure I told you about it before you just see something that's big and really neat, and it will cost some money, and I think it's gonna be great. This stuff gets further in, but there will be 5 summer concerts this summer, and she's listed them out, and I'll start putting them in there. We have done 4 the last few summers. The first and extra one will be a kids band called Ultraviolet 5. And we do have them scheduled, so that will start to come out soon, but it's a local family. These kids are super fun to watch online, so we're gonna try it and see if we can get a different crowd for that one. And then there's gonna be 2 additional concerts at the music hall, and we have the dates. One's in May and one's in October. But we've already scheduled out through December of next year for most things. So I just figure I say it into the room at the end of the year so that you've heard about it. And that's the updates, which seems like a lot, but the last thing I wanted to say was it's Christmas time, for the holidays, depending on how you celebrate. The community brings in so many gifts. The board often shares gifts. People bring food, flowers, cards, cookies, lots of cookies. And the staff is really grateful. So if we know who to thank, I try to write a thank you card. Sometimes people just drop things for us, and it's just nice this time of year to feel remembered by the community that we serve. So I just want to thank people. Please know that we appreciate it. We do not require it. We tend to eat well, but we do like cookies. I like chocolate. But it's nice, the staff do appreciate that. Tomorrow morning, I hope if we don't have some ice issues, the staff might have a little breakfast treat. We don't do an official Christmas party or anything here, but I do think, I just want to say thank you to both board members who brought things in and the community who have brought us gifts. Because it's nice. It's nice to go in the staff room and just, it's like, they call it like, it's like snack festival or something. I don't know.
Rumor has it that some of those money just got hidden behind the circulation desk, but I.
Some get given to certain departments, and that's okay. And we have lots of talented people. People bring gifts they've made. It's amazing. And if I could write a thank you note for all of them, I would. I was trained to do that, so I always feel bad when I don't. So we also get gifts from the community who remember us at the end of the year. So that's it for my update. If you talk too much. Feel free to proceed, unless you have questions.
Any questions?
Good work.
Great written report as well.
Thanks.
And we will move on to item number 6 then, discussion decision items. We'll begin with item A, resolution regarding healthcare. Resolution 2521, exemption from Michigan Public Act 152 of 2011.
Yeah, came out of personnel committee.
Yes.
Another like from personnel committee.
It's right into the personnel committee, so it's something we have to vote on every year, so that we don't participate. So that we can fund our healthcare for the staff. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, and from the notes, well, I mean, do we need discussion? Do you want an explanation?
Well, what we should do is receive the motion, a second, and then move to discussion, and then if not, we will do a roll call vote. Is there a motion to receive the resolution regarding healthcare?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
All right, is there a
I'll
second?
second.
All right, any discussion? If there be no discussion, we'll take a roll call vote. Janine Gogliowski.
Yes.
Maggie Baisley.
Yes.
Ollie Naylor,
Yes.
Don Smith,
Yes.
Kim Armstrong,
Yes.
Bill Bolton, yes. Motion so prevails unanimously. So we'll have to have, let's see if this signs. Right, we move on then to item B, board self-evaluation.
We talked about that at the personnel committee as well, because we do this every year, pretty much. And we do a kind of a board evaluation of what we think of the board in general, as well as we like to self-evaluate ourselves. So, we looked it over. I don't think there was anything, I don't know if anybody thinks there's anything that should be changed or added, or, because that's what this is, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just kind of.
We do it each year.
Yeah, okay, no, no
It's
questions, really straightforward.
It's for examination. All right, then we will move into item C, discussion of January board.
Who's gonna be responsible for that this year?
I can send it out, because I have access to it.
Okay, it's typically, it's typically, right?
Yeah.
Last time. When did we do it? We reviewed it in January, and it's sent out in December. It's typically the board president's job. So I think you have enough on your plate right now.
No, that's true. We can send it out, you're right. I was thinking we'd do it in January, so
That's what I was thinking too.
send it out now for next meeting.
Discussion for John.
So,
And that'll go to the personnel committee. Right, the results will go to the personnel committee first, or not really, can't remember. I wasn't on the committee last year, so.
I think you all just look at it and then
Just
we'll
look
talk
at it.
about what you want to.
Yeah, I know what you said.
There was discussion though,
Right, about the 2-year thing too, though,
Mhm.
so,
Oh,
and
that's right.
so I don't know, because it's the turnovers every 2 years, so instead of doing it every year, right, we would do it.
we were considering is if it's worth doing on years where there's an election, if there's change on the board.
Because then people don't even know what it is, and they're filling it out when they first start.
Well, alternatively, you could change the timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, or do it like here.
Think mid-year.
Like this year will be more useful because you won't have to say, I don't know, I just joined.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And then there was a good question from Kim about, do we even need to share the self-assessment, or is that for you to like reflect on and then fill out the board assessment? Because you could do the self-assessment first and then say, I know I need work on blah, blah, blah. I don't know. That was just a discussion we had, but I don't know that we came up.
I mean, I think there's value in the collected.
I do too, yeah, I do
Self-assessment.
too, I was just more or less just wondering what, but yeah, absolutely, I think it could be beneficial as well, so.
We probably keep the same process this year, and then maybe change the timeline next time.
Makes sense.
Using that.
And we can assess, based on election. It is good that you do it, a lot of boards don't.
So we're going to just line out, so we're going to do the evaluation in January of this year, but then the following year, we'll do it
We'll
in
switch it up,
mid-year.
yeah.
Okay,
Because some people won't be very good, there's some people.
right.
And if it's up for election, this. Sure, you are.
Six, three of us.
Or Nancy too.
Oh, Nancy also.
Mhm.
All right, committee questions for legal counsel update from personnel committee.
January board
Next thing's about the organizational meeting.
Oh,
So
yes, sorry.
I popped this in here because it's important that we really look at this timeline. I made a suggestion, I don't know if you've all had a chance to read it. Usually we look at this calendar at the organizational meeting. The thing that I changed, and I didn't highlight it, so I just want to mention it. Usually in January, finance looked at those 3 policies, the first 3 in February. But the last 3 years, we've pushed them to February because we don't get to them because we don't have committee set up. And specifically this year, We have 2 weeks with holidays in the middle. So even though I'm working, I'll be working 3 days those weeks with disruption. So it'll feel like, even if I work hard those days, it will feel like a weird week, right? We come back, the first of the month is a Thursday, so therefore the board meeting's on the 15th. We have to keep that schedule to do the bid process. So the bids close tomorrow for the Cromaine Commons. And per the bids, as we put them out, they have a month to be accepted. So I've already talked to the ad hoc people that we can have a meeting that first week, which is like the 6th or 7th, I forget which day. So I just laid this out because I'd rather just do that committee meeting, focus on that, do the organizational meeting, do the bid, and then maybe have a special meeting later in the month if we want to do other things. We could do a finance meeting in between there and squeeze that in there. We could do 2 months, but it's hard. We could do the book reviews, whatever else we feel like we need to do, but I feel like that organizational meeting is long enough without trying to, and I really want to make sure we get enough time to assess the bids and not feel rushed, right? So that's why I laid all this out. Thoughts, concerns?
I think that sounds great, especially since it's January 15th. There's a few of us on the ad hoc committee already that had agreed to that date, which I think it worked with from reading the emails. And then for the agenda, it would be the,
That's right.
right, but the constant thing that will need to be on there would be the book challenge, always.
So can we fit that in on that one? That's what I'm suggesting, pushing to another meeting.
So maybe doing that later in the month, you're saying?
Yes. I don't think we can do it in that meeting.
It's already gonna be long. It's gonna be long.
Unless the bid thing's super easy and we might decide, but I just feel like,
It's a big decision.
yeah.
It's a big decision, and I don't think we should shortchange.
And I've never
it.
done it before, so I don't wanna act like I know how it's gonna go.
John, taking time.
Right,
Right.
so I'm not suggesting doing anything but organizational and bid at the January 15th meeting. And then we have 2 more weeks to do a whole meeting on book reviews, and we could do more if you want, or whatever, or other things, but that was the proposal.
So would people be available the next week on the 22nd? We have to make sure we have a quorum. Nancy's not here, so we can't ask her.
The week of January, what?
It would be the 22nd,
And I'm so sorry, for what purpose?
to have, just a meeting,
Special
a special meeting to go over more books that are behind.
Okay, I'm with you. This is all making sense and it seems very logical, so I mean, definitely support it, because there's a lot of topics and they're important topics and they need time, so I'm supportive.
I'll be there.
Yeah,
Are you available on the 22nd?
yes,
Are you available, Howard?
yes.
Yes,
Okay,
so 22nd will be.
so should we make it the same time so that it's for the public? It'll be there, so.
Makes sense.
And that part we can do as well, but the approval I needed and that's attached to this is if I change the order of the calendar, I need your
Right.
approval. And so that's why. I think it sounds like it could work that way. It'll make it easier for us to get our stuff together and it might make it more streamlined for all these things that you're doing too. Yeah.
I move that we change the January meeting and have it just be discussing the bid and the ad hoc committee, or the bid process.
The organizational.
And the
meeting as well.
organization, bid process and the organization.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Who's second? Okay.
All right, being no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
I do have a suggestion to make the January board meeting a little more efficient. If we have a slate where no who are going to be, who's interested in the various roles ahead of time instead of discussing at the January meeting, because that often, sometimes can take a while. So if we have a slate that we can consider, maybe the public can comment on who is interested in what job.
I just think that in a lot of libraries, if there's gonna be change. Sometimes consistency is good, but if there's gonna be change and there isn't an election, it's worth knowing.
So help me understand,
I would, instead of just having people in January immediately before we vote,
Yeah.
make suggestions on who's going to be in office.
okay,
We could make those suggestions now so that people have the time to consider, or the public has the time.
okay.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Okay, that makes sense,
It does.
I'm caught up in the timing, because
Right.
maybe not, I'm not, as you know, I'm not good thinking. So in order to, maybe, can we handle it?
Like January?
That's what I'm struggling with.
Right, so we're either gonna put the time in now, or we're gonna put the time in January.
Yeah,
Which we
yeah.
just had a discussion about how it's already gonna be a long meeting. So we don't have to do it, but that was my suggestion.
Okay. I'm processing. I mean, it makes total sense.
Doesn't matter to me.
Any objections?
I'd like to put the timing in January, actually, because we have a full agenda here tonight with
All right.
review as well. I think that's gonna take some time, so that's just, because we
Yeah,
tailored back for January just to have the bid process and then the meeting, but I don't know.
And I might put that at the top, depending on how it goes, the bid first, so that she can. Well, but we can't know. I'll figure it out. We'll know after the ad hoc committee. Like, I still don't know what we're looking at yet. It might be simple.
Right.
So we have a first and a second.
All right, we will move on to item D. Any questions for legal counsel update from personnel committee?
So, at the personnel committee, what we did was we, went through the questions that everybody provided and tried to kind of, make them make it a little shorter for people, but not leave anybody out, and make sure we got all the topics. So we kind of did that at the meeting. I think you get a clean copy of what we came up with.
And some are duplicate as well.
Yeah, some were duplicate, but we tried to make sure we kept like all the topics that people wanted and things that were, we thought were pertinent without repeating ourselves.
So did you have a replacement question for,
Which one?
mission statement and a question about any
Oh,
religious affiliations?
We thought that we could look at the websites, see that, instead of asking people to save time.
I mean, I'd like to hear it directly from them, because people's interpretation of a website can be more open than just asking somebody, and that's been expressed by a number of members of the community as a concern, so I want to address their concerns clearly with any legal firm.
If you feel strongly about it, I don't have a problem with it back in.
Yeah, I'd like those feedback in. And then I just had a question about.
One mission statement.
Do you or your firm have a mission statement?
That's one.
And do you or your firm have any religious affiliations?
I don't know that you're allowed legally to ask people about their religion when you're interviewing them for any kind of contract or job.
Well, this isn't illegal, we're not, we can look into that, I guess we can ask current counsel about that. But it's also legally questionable for our library to partner with somebody with a religious affiliation, right? That's my concern as well.
I don't know if there's anyone that we're considering that would even have a religious affiliation for what we're looking at.
Yes, ADF does, it's on their website.
We're not discussing media.
Are they off of consideration? Because the last we discussed.
Well, wait, that's a question the committee asked, so.
Yeah,
tell us
are they
about
out of consideration?
Well, they're not out of consideration, but they're not necessary unless there's a lawsuit.
that. Well, do we have to do this at all?
No, not for ADF, we don't.
Well, I mean, the point is that we asked all of the firms the same question.
Well, no, we had this discussion, but Bill wasn't at the meeting.
Oh, wasn't there?
I'd love to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, just that.
So we don't have to do this work that we've been doing?
Not for ADF, we don't. but
Not for,
but
not for ADF, but
Why?
as a caveat, I'm not, let's separate ADF.
And
As a
so we
caveat,
can't separate ADF, like the whole point of following the procedure is that all candidates are treated the same way.
and I'm, let me finish.
Okay.
So whether or not we need another law firm, if we get sued for our policies, this would be a good way to interview any law firm that's gonna represent us at all, if we choose to switch who we're using in general. If we need to do that at any time. So we don't have to do it right now, but it would be good to have something in place. So if we do need to switch who we're using for our legal representation, we already have this in place, and then we can interview everybody with the same option.
So we'll wait till we're sued and then we'll do all this work?
Not wait till we're sued. I would actually love to change our legal firm right now.
I know.
So that's my, you all know that that's my.
That's right, and that's what I thought we were.
That's
talking
why
about.
I'm working on this, so that if everybody decides to do this, then we can fairly interview, and like Kim actually said that we should do the same thing for our current,
Right.
you know, do the
That's
same
fine,
exact
yeah,
thing for our current.
I agree that we can ask the same questions. My problem is, we're either looking at all of our potential hires together fairly at the same time, following process, or we're not. Like, we're not going to partially, like, interview partially and then hire another firm. Like, either we are hiring somebody, because if we later on decide we want to use ADF, they haven't gone through the process
We
at the
would
same
have to-
time as the other.
We would have to put them through the process at the time that they were being.
So we would re-interview the folks that we would have already hired
Yeah,
with the same
confused.
process and compare the two, like, this doesn't make sense.
No, we're not interviewing them for hire.
We absolutely are interviewing them to represent us, and yes, we are.
No, we're not.
So we won't be signing any contracts whatsoever with them.
Not right now. Only if needed.
No, not only if needed. Because in order to follow our procedures and policies, we treat all potential candidates the same. And making a special process for one candidate violates that policy. So either they're in consideration, or they're not, or we don't do this at all.
But I think we're looking at potential candidates for representation.
Our local representation.
Possibly replacing what we have or keeping the same one that we have.
That's
I
right.
don't, we're not looking for this at the special.
ADS cannot receive special treatment, that's my point.
No, I know, we're
No,
not.
But
no,
that's
no,
what he's
no.
talking about.
No,
How is
they're,
it not special treatment to not interview them?
they are not on the table
At all.
at all, right now. No,
I'm
they're
really
not.
confused. So Bill, you haven't been at the last few meetings.
No, I haven't. Well, not at the personnel. I was sick and I
And
wasn't at the last.
Don's
meeting
Don's
for
asked
other
this,
reasons.
I've asked this, so this is new to me, and like Becky, I need a minute. What you all are saying is interesting as well, because you told me it would only be for this one policy and we would keep our legal firm. So it's not just because we want a different legal firm completely. This is confusing me very much. This is not the point of the meeting to me, but this is very interesting that now it's very concerning.
Yeah, just being kicking the can until we're.
No,
What are
I
we
mean,
doing?
the
Well,
question,
I've made it very clear how unhappy, unpleased I am.
yes, we know.
It's been very transparent. It's not new information
Right.
at all.
But you said
I
only for
understand.
this one.
Right, but then,
Originally.
Which is what I thought.
Originally.
but since we have to be fair,
But do
why
we,
don't we just interview them for that instead of interviewing them for everything and just have a new legal counsel? It could be the one Kim found, it could be anybody, but at least, why do we have to keep the same firm?
That's fine, I'm not saying we have to keep the same firm. What I'm saying is either we interview all potential firms during the same process, like, we're not gonna treat three potential firms one way and treat somebody else at some undedicated, very nebulous moment down the line differently. That was the entire point of doing all this work. The consistency in how we treat people and not giving any firms special treatment. And saying, well, maybe we'll work with them down the line if needed, but we're not gonna do this process with them, is special treatment.
I don't think it's special treatment. I think it's just getting something lined up just in case you were to need to consult with an additional.
Which is what I've said all along. They will be here if we need them.
We don't.
We don't need them.
We don't need them.
Right, we don't.
They're not
We
needed.
don't.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
so
will, they
if
will
we
not,
have
It's
any
off the
they will
suggestions,
not be handling any
It's not off the
legal
table. It's
issues
just
It's a
outside.
special one.
No,
it's not really being postponed because we may not need it.
Okay, so if they're
We may
interviewing,
not ever need.
we'll be interviewing multiple candidates at that time and asking them the exact same list of questions. Is that what I'm hearing?
For local, sure.
No, for any potential legal partnership.
I mean, I suppose if we have to cross that bridge, we would, of course.
No,
Okay,
not,
so
I
okay.
suppose, not would, yes
Could be,
or no.
could be the ACLU, it could be,
I have two questions once I have a turn.
sure, go ahead.
Okay, so my first question is my first question is, what's the intent and objective? So that's where I always start. So is the objective to have a questionnaire developed in anticipating of needing to use it?
No, what I thought we were doing was developing a questions and standard policy for interviewing and identifying potential legal counsel.
And that's my second.
Right, yeah, right, and that's my understanding as well for our the potential of replacing our current legal counsel. That's
Or
what
maybe
we're
we keep
doing.
them,
Or
but
keep,
we should be fair.
right, in terms of our discussions.
This is going in circles, I don't understand what you're saying.
And that was my second question. So that's my second question. So I'm just gonna,
It's about the possibility of replacing or keeping our current counsel
right, but I'm
for
gonna,
library affairs.
yeah, I'm gonna pretend for a minute. I'm gonna pretend that this is how the process is gonna work, and then we'll dissect it. So I'm gonna pretend that the intent is to create a questionnaire so that we're fair for any legal firm that we decide to interview. So that's first. Second, my second question is the intent, or where is this conversation going tactically to interview law firms? Is that on the table or off the table? Where, okay, thank you. I don't know the answer to that. So that's two. Three, this is a procurement of services. So I'm confused as to, because I thought that was a jurisdiction of the library director to procure services from vendors, which this is. So I'm confused as to why the board would be interviewing legal counsel.
Because the board does not agree with my opinion.
Okay, and that's fair, that's an answer.
I would say the board doesn't agree with the opinion of the current law firm on some of the topics that we've issued, that we've worked on.
Yes.
And I would just
feel
like
like
we're
we're
getting adequate counsel for them,
Okay,
and maybe we would have had to take 2 years to come up with what we came up with, if we had had better counsel to begin with.
I mean, she's,
Well, let's,
It's not
like,
fair.
let's ask the questions and just let her answer, and then we can all decide.
and
But we're doing this for some reason that seems
that is now.
This seems
all of a sudden
performative.
It does seem performative, that's a good word,
and a waste of my time.
and a waste of a lot of our time.
Yeah.
Why is it a waste of your time? Would you not want to evaluate? There's multiple firms that we looked at.
We do, I would want to evaluate all of the firms that have been suggested as potential partners and not excluding the one that sparked this entire.
Oh, that's not what sparked this. What sparked this was, board members not liking the opinion of current counsel and wanting to look for replacement counsel for board matters.
And to be honest, it was also sparked by, I wouldn't even have thought of this if we hadn't gotten threatening letters from the ACLU.
Yeah.
So
And
this
that's
is what
fine.
happens.
Again,
I mean, we have to protect the library. Our fiduciary duty is to make sure that if we were to get sued, we win, because we don't want to have to pay anything, we don't want to waste money. So in my opinion, if we had it, like I just said, if we had better legal counsel at the beginning, we could have had somebody looking over our policies, the things that we changed and helping us, instead of saying you can't do anything.
I mean, number one, just because you don't like the legal advice you get doesn't mean it's bad legal advice. And number two, again, I am fine with going through this process. What I am not fine with is feeling like we're being jerked around when all of a sudden the most controversial suggestion here is just not gonna actually undergo the review at the same time.
No, at this time, they do not feel it's necessary.
But I feel it's necessary for our policies and procedures to do all of the potential candidates at the same time.
Right now, they're not
Would
asking
we be
to
their
be,
clients
right
or
now,
are we, would they
right
be
now, they are
our?
not, right now, they are not asking to be considered.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, is it because he came and
Yeah.
saw us? Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
I have a suggestion, just to try to not be arguing about this.
I'm not
So,
arguing, I'm
not arguing,
frustrated.
how about this?
I'm frustrated.
Hit this, because I don't understand what's going on with that either, Bill. So how about this? If the time came where we needed additional counsel,
We would have talked about it
because
personally.
then we would go through the same process and figure out if we want to hire ADF or whoever we want. If whoever we have,
So
we
the-
need additional
Or
support.
whoever our current council is may want to enlist them
Exactly,
on
that
their
might be
own.
more help.
They
Hopefully
might.
not, should
Yes.
probably never
So the
happen.
tricky thing for me, and we're about to do my performance review right after this, I am the staff who calls when there's an issue. I am the staff, because you don't work here, I work for you, who calls and says, there's an issue, I need advice. I can't take 5 years to get it when I need it.
But we're keeping her on right now.
Are we though? I don't feel safe asking her questions right now.
We haven't hired anybody else, Sarah, so that is currently our legal representation.
Right, she is our
We've
legal
already
counsel.
discussed this.
That you don't trust or like. So I'm supposed to bring you her opinion and feel supported? Like, Bill, I've asked you in writing, I've texted you, I've called you. Dawn says she did too. So this whole like, ladies, I've been so clear with you, I don't appreciate.
No, I said I would have went over this with you if I'd been at the personnel meeting to discuss, but I was really sick.
I believe you.
And at the last meeting I had other
But
other
again,
job
it's been in the
obligations
packet
as
for a
well.
week. Like, this is just, I didn't come to this to argue about this, but I'm just baffled.
It's playing games.
I'm baffled. And I suggested at the meeting you weren't at that we table this because it felt like a waste of time. And then we had a long and robust discussion about why we didn't want to. So
I would think from our discussions previously in personnel meetings of wanting to consider other local law firms. This is not a waste of time. This is something that has been expressed by board members and
Yes,
committee members.
clearly.
And
So
so,
let's focus on that maybe. I guess.
absolutely, is without the actual need of bringing in adjunct firms for any reason.
I mean, I think that whoever we hire should be capable of representing us in a lawsuit.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's why we came up with these questions, we want input, because this is important to everybody. And everybody has their issues that are important to them.
Well, that's fine. Sarah, would you check with our current counsel about whether we are legally able to ask about mission statement and religious affiliation?
I can do that with the employment lawyer.
I'm sure mission statement you're allowed to ask about, I don't know if asking about people's religious affiliation is legal. That's what I just asked her to check on, because the community, multiple members of our community have expressed concern about that. And I think we should be able to address that for them if possible and be. And the other questions I had asked that I wanted to know why they were cut is the, what services are included in your standard fee structure and what costs are not included, because I think we would need to know that. And for fees and billing, it's in the suggestion. I'm trying to remember why we chose one of them. Oh, I think it's because we have the perspective of the fee structure already.
From one.
We would, yeah, and so we would ask for that from everybody before we interview them. We would want to know the fee structure.
And that was,
Okay, and
that
does the
was-
fee structure typically include more than the hourly fee? Does it include a detailed breakdown of what's not?
well, it's
included?
interesting because, and I didn't know what to do with this, and I had no one to ask. So one of the things I didn't include, and it's, Dawn had brought us basically a proposal from another local firm, but I felt weird putting it in the packet for public viewing because it has all that info, and I feel like that's privileged till we sign it. I don't know if that's true.
Not sure, so.
Because
that's probably
again,
right. Yeah, probably.
But it's a wildly different fee structure than what we have with our current council, as in way more money. So I just wanted to, again, I think you should compare apples to apples and not just throw everything at PDL and say it's transparent, right? So, It's a
That would be
valid
this one.
question. I do think it's something we could ask during the thing.
But
I
we
had a
didn't want
question.
to not ask it, we just
Yeah.
thought they
We
should
thought it would
all give
be-
us in writing what their fee structure was ahead of time.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's,
Yeah, we weren't trying to take it
verbal,
out,
but
yeah.
Then why is it, I'm so sorry, why is it crossed out?
Because we assumed that we would get all of those things first before we would then ask them questions in person.
Okay.
If we were trying to make the interview process
Streamline.
or whatever,
Yeah.
like an essay, we're trying to have them answer all these questions.
This is some
So-
cover
so,
sheet
yes.
that indicates we need this information,
Right. So,
including fee structures.
So you're anticipating like requesting like an RFI, and then the RFI would contain those answers,
Yeah.
the assumption.
Yeah.
I thought of one since the meeting, number 2, experience and expertise, we kept a bunch of those. And it's basically, do you have experience with libraries, do you have experience with this, do you have experience with that? I've been used this week as a, reference for a firm that we use. And another person said they're doing an RFP and that could they contact me? And I would like the board or me, someone, to be able to contact at least 2 similar entities they've worked with and talked to them about it. That's standard. Now, I don't think it has to be in this, but I want to say it, but I think that that's standard.
to get references.
References.
Yeah,
Usually I would
sure.
do it. I would call and say, how are they when you need them online?
Right.
Do they call you on the weekend? If the police are calling the library, do they respond? All these kind of things.
So I have a question, another question, trying to both decipher
do
this.
you want to add that in before we forget though? I don't want to lose.
I wrote it down.
Did you write it down? Okay.
So do we have an RFI template that all of this is being?
When you say RFI, request for information,
Yes.
I've only done RFP, which is proposal.
Right. So are 2 different,
I think it's what we're trying to
mechanisms.
Right.
So are we,
With the
so
same intent.
that would be the first question. Are we RFIing or are we RFP?
I would assume RFP because we're looking at potential candidates.
Okay, so I'll use the term RFP then.
Yeah.
So do we have a comprehensive RFP offer?
That's a good question.
I do all of that.
Okay, which is
And
fine.
no,
Which is fine too, which is fine too.
and I really wasn't looking to do that, which is why it's been confusing.
Yeah, and I agree, that's why I'm trying to get clarification.
Because it's a big process.
Yeah, it's a big process. And so that's why I was trying to decipher the intent of this document. Because if the objective of this is a ask question list, all of this should be comprised in an RFP document. So I think that the need for this document is negated per the purchasing process because it's included in an RFP. That's process. Should we issue RFPs? That's another discussion point. My personal opinion at this moment is we shouldn't be issuing RFPs at the moment. Indeed, it's a lot of work. There's other priorities. So an RFP is you're requesting a proposal.
They have to evaluate them. Like
And then we have to evaluate them and then we pick. That's the process. The question was asked, do we even need to be doing this right now? I don't think we got anywhere on that one.
Well, this has been
our
a discussion, if I can just, okay, this has been a discussion for over years. And this has been, it really has, and for different meetings, there was a list of lawyers that.
Since March.
Since March, okay, so, quite a year, so for 9 months. And there was a list that came before the board with a bunch of different lawyers. I believe with personnel committee, you look through some of that. So it's not like it's just like all new to us. It's a matter of, would this be something that personnel committee could get together for an RFP?
I mean, no, that's what, this is exactly what it's
That's what we're
saying.
trying to.
That is for those of us from the personal committee.
Right, and
That is
again,
our task.
we have a massive project coming up, and a massive decision to make.
That's my concern.
It would probably be best if we resolve this before, we undertake that massive project.
Why?
Why, so that we know who we're leaning on for legal counsel. That's
How
why,
is that related to our building project?
well, if we have had a reason, board members have had reason not to trust the counsel that has been given. We want to make sure that we're listening to counsel, that we have a reasonable assurance that they're going to give us counsel that complies with what we're asking for.
But how is that related to the building project?
It depends on what type of legal issue surface.
During the building project?
There are multiple issues that can arise where you need legal counsel. Absolutely.
Has Sue indicated any concern on her end that we need to have legal counsel ready? Because the problem is, we can't do this process before we decide on bid.
I've done multiple building projects, and I can tell you, having legal counsel through the whole process is usually necessary.
That's
Is
fine,
there
but we cannot
unexpected
change our
events?
legal counsel before we are getting this, we have to decide on the bid. The bid is due in January. And we cannot follow our procedure, we cannot do an RFP, we cannot have this discussion on that time.
Well, I said before we actually undertake the project, because
Well,
accepting-
time out,
yeah.
time out with that. We're
Accepting-
3/4 away into the project. We have already
We haven't
approved the project. We have already approved every single solitary step going forward. So I'm getting really confused why we interject legal counsel into the Cromaine Commons project. I'm not
Oh,
understanding.
I'm not, I'm just saying, I have
But you
been
just
in
did.
project, I'm just saying from personal experience, I have been involved in multiple large projects.
Yes.
Where you do need counsel.
Right, but you just
Yeah,
said
I
that we need to change our counsel before we do this project. We are signing.
Yeah, we're at the point where we're pushing around.
We currently can use though, the council that we're using for this
Until-
project.
Yes.
Well, you're all assuming they still wanna work with you.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
They may decide they
this
don't
is all
want
on
to.
the internet, like,
So, okay, can I'm getting lost.
I kinda wanna leave the room. I'm so angry right now.
What is it that you're so angry about, Sarah?
The fact that, give you a moment if that's okay. The fact that we have been jumping through hoops, we have been hearing from the public, things have been stated to the public about what we're going to do before we've even tried to start this process. We try to pull back and do something that follows our policy, and then we get here and we're told, oh, actually, you don't need to do any of that. So all of that work,
Or else, you don't get to do it.
yeah.
That's not what's being
No, that's
said,
what's
Sarah.
being
That is
said.
not what's being
Yeah,
said.
I'll be back.
Can I move we take a 10-minute recess to share the
Great.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
We're taking a
10-minute break.
10-minute recess.
Somebody,
Becky.
Who seconded?
sorry.
That was good, that was good.
Yeah, let's take a breath.
So,
We're not discussing these. We are not discussing this. We are back.
Thank you so much.
Did you see? Member that is occupied, your chair is no longer occupied. We call this meeting back to order.
Where shall we go? So, since I don't if I'm the only person who feels that we should reconsider, this is the committee, I don't want to make a decision for everybody. Maybe we should ask, maybe people should say whether they think we should look at other council as a discussion.
I think we should.
I just don't want to be the only one and wasting everybody's time, because then it won't go through anyway.
I've been on the board for 8 years now, I've always been perfectly satisfied with Ann's counsel, again, just because we don't like what you hear, doesn't mean it's bad counsel.
And I want to say, it's not just that I don't like what we hear. I don't feel like the things that we've done, we can have a discussion with her and she can give us advice on it.
I'm assuming that there are enough people on here who want to move forward with looking into other legal firms. I don't really think that that's.
So I want to
a
make
wise use of
sure,
time.
I want to make sure, because it sounds like it's a big deal, according to Becky. It's a big process we have to go through. I want to make sure it's worth our time to even keep talking about it. So we have 2 yeses, 1 no.
Well, let me provide my opinion, and I'll just say it. It's never a bad idea to evaluate your vendors, to refresh. So it's never bad to do that. I think to evaluate the legal counsel, the timing to do this right now is not good, I was gonna say. So I don't think that it should be a priority right now to evaluate new legal counsel. I think having a canned sheet of questions is prudent, that's fine, that's no big deal. But I feel like we're trying to solve a problem that hasn't been identified. And so I think that evaluating, again, like I said, based on the premise of evaluating vendors, it's not a bad idea. You should always refresh. I think doing this right now is not the appropriate time. I think we need to push it out. I don't think it's a priority. And I think that we should table it and then discuss it, I don't know, 6 months from now or something.
I was gonna say, is there a guesstimate time that,
Yeah.
that we could?
Mid-year next year. I'm proposing, I'm pulling from the sky. But I'm just saying, right now, there's so much going on. There is so much taking the time of library staff and Sarah's time. And there are other priorities that we have said have been priorities that need the focus, that I think we just need to push this out to later. I don't think it should be on the top priority list at the moment. That's mine.
Well, as personnel committee, the personnel committee has felt it was appropriate to discuss, which is why we're at where we're at this point. And I'm okay with continuing. I'm okay with shelving. I'm okay either way.
Well, again, this has been on the discussion table since March, looking into different council. And I think we do need to proceed with this. It may not be like next month, it may not be, I think 6 months is a little bit too long, but it's something that the personnel committee has already, they've talked to different ones, they're doing research on this and they're looking into this. When we went into closed session, back in February, I believe it was, and it was interesting, the counsel that we had received, and that is what, when we went into closed session, is what spurred this discussion more. If you recall that we did that in February, then March, here's a list of many different lawyers. So that was the concern for many board members here, not just one, not just, so it's just a matter of, after we did go into closed session and get the counsel, but Sarah, you bring up a point, do they still want a represent us? And if they don't, then we better start looking.
So in the interest of trying to smooth this out, how about we say 3 months we look at it, and it's to kind of.
You're gonna be breaking ground on that. I understand that it came up in March. If this was the priority for the board, we should have made it the priority in March and done it then. We chose a different priority, which was the book challenge process. And now our priority, which is making sure the staff has time to focus on a huge complicated project, as well as we have the time to do our due diligence in overseeing that project. You cannot have two top priorities, and both of these things deserve to be top priority.
I feel like the personnel committee can come up with, as a working group, come up with what we need to do for the proposal
Over the next
in,
3 months.
over the next 3 months. And I'm sorry, I don't know if anyone's ever had a job where you have more than one priority at a time. And this is not the top priority, but you can function and do other things. I know we have to read 200 books, but the personnel committee would be doing most of the legwork on this. And then we could, after the 3 months, we could set aside, figure out how we roll it out, how we interview people. And we're not building the outside. And there's an ad hoc committee that's actually in charge of doing a lot of decision making for that. I feel that more than one thing can be done at a time. And the staff does not have to work on this. Sarah would have to, I mean, she would have to. I feel like the proposal is gonna be done by the committee, it's not gonna be Sarah.
Has anybody on the committee ever written a proposal to hire a library lawyer?
I haven't, but I bet I could figure it out.
Okay, because previously Sarah has written
Well, and-
all of the RFPs.
You know, we're all, okay, I didn't mean to imply that I can't handle it, because I can obviously handle multiple things, because I have to. I wrote you all the memo, and it wasn't March, I don't remember when it was, but I needed legal advice, it was midsummer. Due to board things, and I needed to reach out to someone, and I wrote you a memo saying, like, is this appropriate, because I need to know that I can take advice from her. Right? We all have that memo, it's in your board meeting somewhere. So I started this, so I'm not saying I won't deal with it, but Bill has been consistently saying, don't worry, just do what I tell you. Just use ADF, just for this one thing, but don't think about it, but don't do it, but
That
don't
they
use the
were
process.
available for us to use if needed.
Yes, and that's great, fantastic. So the memo asked for advice. I think we've heard that most of you might want to do it. Great.
Maybe,
Um,
could be a different program.
So, I mean, we're trying, part of this process, the questions and everything, was the method in which, like, we started, whenever that was, and again, I could go look at the notes, because we take notes, in personnel, and we said, let's do this process, and we didn't. And it got sent back to me, and then we're starting to do the process. I know how to effectively do an RFP. I've done multiples for you. You want me to focus on this? Sure, I can do that. We can move on to my review next, because we can add that to the list of goals. I mean, I think we were trying to delay bringing ADF on at a whim, and I don't think it was laid out well. Accomplished, great. We can do this because we don't like the advice we were given. Right. I think we've said all the things we need to say. We've all been very clear. I'm not confused anymore.
Sure, that doesn't mean that we wouldn't use them in the future, we just would like the opportunity to maybe
Wouldn't use who in the
review.
future?
Pardon?
Wouldn't use who in the
The
future?
our current council, there's, you know, if we, we're not saying that we're going to, you know, but we would like to have the opportunity
To
to
review.
reevaluate the council that, you know.
Which is fine, it's,
And like Janine said, this stems from the closed session advice that we got, that I'm not confident in.
I'm aware of that, I'm not talking about whether we should do it. I'm talking about the process, we have done this before, we hired the strategic planning committees, we have hired people.
We
And
hired
it's
Sue.
possible to do it
I've
well
done RFPs for multiple.
and efficiently, and we could have done that from the beginning and been done with this. So we haven't been because we have been dancing
But
around
I can make
and
one.
getting stuff last minute
But I
and
didn't
having
want
things
to.
attempted
We have
to
one
work
person
out.
talk this time, I can't hear what Sarah's saying
I
now.
mean, again,
I
we're
just
trying-
I asked her if she didn't have a template because she's done it before. And she said no, but she could.
Not with this kind of vendor, we haven't done it before.
again, I'm fully capable of whatever.
What is the actual clear, we're not gonna change this at the last minute instruction?
Or threaten projects.
I didn't hear a threat.
I heard
think that
a
was
threat.
a misinterpretation.
I
Because
heard it.
people hear things because they're upset.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what you heard. In
Maybe
my,
it's what I heard, it might not be what you heard. And that's fine.
I
That's
think we're
valid.
excited about this project.
I think you're mistaken,
Absolutely.
and I think I understand you being upset and hearing it the way that you did. I'm here listening, and I understand why you heard it that way, but I don't feel that that's what happened.
Because it won't happen before we start.
Of course not, we all said it. So
No,
it's
of
not-
course not.
Right.
So that
No, I'm
didn't,
100
that didn't happen, but I see how it came
110%
across that way
behind the
though.
project. Absolutely, I think what
Why
we're
did
doing
you
is
say what
awesome.
you said? Doesn't matter. Let's move on.
Yeah, so was there a thing we were voting on? What's the decision?
So the decision, so it sounds
So
like
my
conversation,
my
that this needs to go.
Would be that we would start
The committee will keep doing what it's doing, in evaluating.
and hopefully in a few months, we'll come back to something.
Yeah.
But
The
it's
committee's
not.
non-functional, so there's a question in the minutes that I'd like addressed before we move on. And I'm looking for it. So, in the minutes from personnel, which was 12/4, Bill was absent, he was sick. We went over this. I feel like we had a long and good discussion. And we wanted an update from you, Bill. Did you read these minutes?
I did.
Okay, so your update is ADF's off the table unless
For right now, yeah. Unless we need it and decided we wanted to use that.
Is ADF off the table? Do yes or no?
Yes. they're
Yes, it is off the table, period. Full
Unless
stop,
we
we're
need
not
them.
working with them.
Are they gonna show up at the next meeting?
No,
No, so we, on the
Only
record,
we
right
invited
now, open record, on the record, we are not going to be working with ADF.
not this time, no.
No, see, that's a hedge. That's not a.
Well, it is a hedge, because I can't
It is
say,
a
I
hedge.
can't
Thank
say,
you.
that-
No,
I
let's-
can't say
let
that
me
we
let me
wouldn't
try to
get
be the
someone
You
person
can't
Yeah.
answer yes or no.
You guys, let me try to be the person in the middle again. For this proposal that we're gonna do for a vendor, however we want to say it, they will not be involved. So let's
Just right
just,
now, yeah.
so,
They never ever be involved.
so we don't have to think about it. We're gonna concentrate on making sure we have good legal counsel, they're local, whatever, that we can rely on, that Sarah can call on Saturday. So we're gonna look,
Yes, and I have been working with Foster Swift on many things
Yes.
in the last month. They're still working with me. I'm just not asking them about all this mess because I
Right.
feel like we made it clear we don't want this.
So yeah, just to be clear, ADF will not be invited to meetings, will not be told to go into closed session until it has been discussed
And
in
voted.
a full, and voted on at a full meeting in advance.
Absolutely.
Okay, because that's not how it has worked before.
all right, okay,
Excellent. That makes me feel better. Thank you.
okay.
And I appreciate that reframing, Dawn. Thank you.
I understand how it came across.
And I apologize for heightened awareness of things.
Review policies. Need new policy 604 investment in library funds.
That
finance
was a typo at 605.
Oh,
We
605.
apologize, it's right on the policy. Right,
Just the
Jenny?
type of investment in library funds, finance resolution, if needed.
There were no changes in it, correct?
That is correct. So there were, no changes. We reviewed it in finance committee and. we
There's
were-
one formatting error that we noticed.
Yeah.
There's like 2 headers. Did you
Yes.
notice that? Okay.
Yeah.
But it's just formatting.
Just a paragraph.
Yeah, no meat and potatoes or substance to the contents of the policy itself.
And those were written by Ansernick last year.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
And they've been working and they're appropriate. There was no.
I move that we accept, 6005 as written.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
6015, budget finance resolution if needed.
There's been no change with that either, correct? No change with that. I move that we, go ahead with 6015 as written.
I'll second again.
And second, any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Item G, or excuse me, director's evaluation motion needed.
I move that we go into closed session for our director's review.
I don't request one, I want to stay in open session.
That would be nice.
Yeah. So I'm requesting that because only Kim and John were at my review, with Darlene taking notes. And there has been some miscommunication, and I just want us all in the room for it. I think it'll help the community, I think it'll help me. There was a clerical error where the last 2 pages were not in the packet, so I apologize. Thank you to those of you who filled this out. So this did not go the way I expected it to go. It's a great review, I'm not upset about what anyone said. They're good things, I can accept the goals and all those things, but I wanted to go over it so I can understand what my goals are. I didn't expect to be upset earlier in the meeting, so I apologize for that, because I am working on, we're all communicating differently and we're all hearing different things, okay? Like we had this conversation, I am to blame for it more than 50% of the time, so I apologize for that. We have confusion. There was an email yesterday that I apologize for my tone because I think there's some confusion. I want to clarify all that tonight. I figured it out, but I need to know from you all about my performance in a few key areas. We're not going to read through this all for the community or whatever, but I have some questions that I want discussion around, and that's how I want this to go. Is that okay with you all?
Yeah, I would like the community to know that it is a stellar review.
It's a good review. I'm not upset about the contents of the review. I'm disappointed that one of you didn't fill it out. I think a lot of it is actionable and good. Now, I had a strong reaction, and I kind of argued with the 2 that were at the meeting, which might have been confusing to you all because you were under an impression that I was not. The page that you were missing, the last page 18 or 16 or whatever the last one is, we're supposed to come up with goals for the year. And there's a lot in here, I don't want to go over some things, but I was really shocked that people were putting in the review to finish labeling the books, because I have not begun labeling books other than through the appeal, the challenge process.
Well, you,
I did through the challenge process, and I was ready to. So I went through, over the last 24 hours, I went through our meeting minutes and my notes. Because just like in the challenge process, there's a lot of communication, and there's a lot of what I hear, there's a lot of what you hear, and then there's what we write down for people and tell them we did, but like, so in March of this year, we had a really good community relations and strategic planning meeting on March 12th, and these are from the minutes, so these are what we agreed to in the, and I think Donnie must have written them, or maybe, because they're really well written. And it clearly talks about the 2 topics, sexually explicit and other books, right? Separate from. And we've been saying that clearly that there's 2 topics. And in March, we were approaching a collaborative trial solution, which was this social issues label. And if you read the minutes, which I will not read to you all, but I had concerns about it, but I was willing to try it. And then I was delivered the 220 book challenges, which are supposedly separate and about sexual explicit or age inappropriate or whatever it's actually about now. And for some reason, and I can track through, because I went through it today, how I lost the thread there. And yeah, I got distracted and overwhelmed. But I did not, the next meeting minutes, if you look in April, from Community Relations, I reported that I met with a patron, we have all these books, we've gone back and forth, and I said, genre labels have arrived, however, staff is working on the challenge book 51st. And that's the last time I mentioned it, or we really touched it. And in my mind, and in the communications, but not minutes, I started saying to staff and to other people that I would only put that on books that were being challenged. Now, you might not have known that.
Never heard that.
We did.
We did, yeah. So that is information we did not have.
Right.
And part of that stemmed from my confusion about the communication here about what was really happening with that challenge. I'm still confused, and I look forward to whatever you're going to do next tonight. because I still don't know. Because I get ready for these meetings, and then this stuff happens that I'm like, what is going on? So I'm just curious. And that's where Kim asked me a valid question yesterday, and I was like, meh! So I apologize, Kim. It was a valid question, because I can see what you thought based on what you read. And discussions with me, probably, right? So, you know, I'm a big girl, and I can do this. And I've been coming to the table in good faith. I don't know who's here tonight, but this challenge thing is more than we're saying it is, and you can pretend it's not, but to me it is. And I'm closer to it than a lot of you. I've noticed we haven't been writing things down. We didn't get minutes from the meeting you had with her. I want it written down what she said and what you said to her. And it's not Holly's job, it's yours, because you're the committee chair. So this whole, oh Sarah, it's not about LGBTQ rights. It is. And they are connected. So we can discuss all that. I understand where I went, but in my mind, I wasn't doing it, and I was so baffled when I was reading the things, because we read it in the room, I hadn't seen it ahead of time. Now, in the past, the president would do it, would talk to me about what was in it before I'd read it, then I'd read it, then we'd go over it, then in the room, I would leave, because you'd just be deciding how much to pay me to keep doing great work, but you know, we are not communicating well, because we have to record it in case we get sued, which you keep threatening me with, Bill, and I don't like it.
I'm not threatening.
Oh, no, you should. So, like,
When have I ever threatened you with a lawsuit?
Darlene and I can tell you the date, because we have notes.
Did I threaten you with a lawsuit? No.
Anyway, this game can continue, but there's stress there that you might not see. And so I interpret things through that lens, okay? And while I have great output in any job I have, I don't know how many hoops I can jump through. Okay, I'm starting to be all talkative, so I wrote things down so I wouldn't do that, because I do that when I get saucy. So I didn't understand that I hadn't communicated that well, and that's my failure. So I do accept it as a goal. If a goal is to label some books with social issues, I still have the concerns that are already in writing if people look. I want to do it as a pilot program for X number of months, 6 months, reassess. We discussed at the meeting that we should reassess this in 6 months so we don't go a year with me not knowing I'm not doing something you think I should be doing. Because that's good governance, that's good oversight, that's how you manage people. It's much harder for 7 people to manage 1 person. I'm sorry that it's hard, but so I don't want to appear that I'm delaying and being obstructive, but I really did honestly decide not to do anything because I thought and was told the process would move faster than it has. As you can see, it's not simple, so.
I accept that.
Yeah, thank you. Basically, I don't feel confident in being taken seriously as a professional. I'm told that librarians are a problem, that we are untrustworthy, we make bad decisions. I am working with the community. 50% is our fault, 50% is unreasonable. I think we can meet in the middle. I think we're working towards that. I am working with my staff. They are open to trying things, but I want to emphasize for the community, they're here, and whoever's watching me later, because somebody will, that the requests have been to label books with LGBTQ content with a genre label, and I've said, no, I won't do that. So we're trying to make a compromise, but the genre label we've picked encompasses other things.
Which, can we talk here at all, since a little bit here as well?
Not yet. So in a moment, because I just need to lay this out and then you can tell me where I'm misinterpreting. But the genre label that other libraries use is a rainbow or pride or something that implies you want to find content like this. in this community, it's been made very clear to me since I started, and I live just south of here in Brighton, that I'm part of the community, that it is a warning label. And the legal advice was that that's not good. So you've accepted that I won't do that, and you haven't forced me to. And I appreciate that. I could, and probably the world wouldn't. It wouldn't, right? But that decision has been made, I'm not walking it back. So we can put social issues on something. Most books for kids under 12 are social issue books, so I do have a concern, but I decided to let it roll, we'll see. But I'm not only gonna label books with LGBTQ content with that label, because that would be discriminatory. And there were 3 books mentioned in an email. Those would get genre labels like family, colors, and maybe social issues, but the last one might be something else. I'd have to have a librarian look at it because I haven't read that one. But so again, my staff can do it. My staff are excited. Like they already ordered more genre labels, and I told them to wait till I saw what everything happened because I want to see what you all decide. I know you're not voting on genre labels tonight, but I wanted to hear feedback through this process of talking about the books, because you all have wildly different opinions. All right, I'm done.
Can I
Yes,
have an opinion, since I was in some of the meetings?
you were there, yes.
So I can understand how it got misinterpreted, and that's why I sent that email where I feel like something happened.
I feel like, yeah, it was
I was
there.
fair, like, so I agree that it shouldn't just be LGBT.
Yes,
It shouldn't be that. And that's the whole reason that we chose the
That
social
one.
issues, because we don't want to create a stigma.
Mhm.
I don't understand why our community is against the rainbow thing, but if they are, I don't care. We don't need to do that. Like, that's not important to me. So I have no problem with you putting it on other things that are social issues. Because there are other things that are social issues that some people want to find, some people don't want to find. And to me, it's like, if people want to find that, they do, and if they don't want to talk about social issues or have their kids read it, they don't have to. So I'm in agreement with what you're saying, and I understand why it was delayed.
Yeah.
So I'm empathetic with what you're doing. I hope it goes well. I'm glad that staff are excited about it.
and they have a lot of ideas that aren't just labels. Like, we could do better explaining how to find things, because labels aren't the best way.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not saying we won't use that as a tool, but there's lots of other things.
And I do, it is
Yeah.
really, actually, as I've said all along, it's very important to me that I don't want people to feel stigmatized, even though I'm sure the public doesn't think that because of the things that I say, but I'm very much against censorship, and I want people to be able to find everything they can find. So I just want everybody to be fair about it, and us to compromise and be reasonable, and be adults and reasonable people in the way that we roll it out. So I feel like you've made some steps in the right. I think you read my email, I was pleased with how things were going. So that's how I'm feeling right now. I just didn't know if it was dropped. That was my only concern.
Well, it kind of was,
Right.
because of all the reasons I've given you.
So that's all I'm
And I didn't tell anybody it was dropped, because I didn't really even realize it was an expectation still. So that's where the confusion was found. And Janine, you say in a lot of meetings, it's been for years. I get that, but it hasn't been a request for better genre labels for years. So that's the hard thing.
Right, but I'd like to say something
Yeah.
too, and coupled with being on the committee that talked about how we could appease the community, how we could appease both people. The rainbow stickers seem to really evoke some unhappiness, disruption in the community, which I find, I like to, there's 2 separate things. So first off, the social issues label was a compromise, and we talked about that in committee. It has been talked about at several meetings to do this. So it was also even brought up, are we going to, I believe Holly said at the one meeting, so are we gonna label slavery or something like that? I can't remember the exact thing, but it's like, yes, that will be part of the social issues label. Abolition, I'm sorry, okay, yeah, right, okay, so, yes, that would be under social issues label, and that would be correct, to do that as well. as for the rainbow situation, the whole reason why the board, you know, kind of decided to do the social issues label was to not, you know, to make a compromise with the community. But I do find, as this was said before, Howard, Fowlerville, Brighton, all have rainbow stickers. After reading several of these.
Brighton does not.
Neither does Howell outside of their
Right.
little issues.
There's social, okay, there's,
There are no
their issues.
rainbow issues.
Under their
collections
issues,
in
Only
Howell.
please don't
Fowler.
interrupt me, under their issues section.
Correcting.
If I'm, okay, so with reading some of the books that we have from this challenge, because we were getting books from different libraries, Allen Park is doing it, Riverview Community Library is doing it, Trenton is doing it. I took
I think
screenshots
those
and
communities are the same as here.
I'm saying, my point being is other libraries as well are doing it, okay? So the whole purpose of doing the social issues label was to do a compromise.
I have a question. What is it that makes Hartland in this area so different? I would like to know. And since you are,
Right.
what is the difference?
Sarah, you even said in our meeting in personnel, I'm sorry to interrupt, I'd like the answer to that as well, but you said there were several libraries across
What is-
Michigan that are using the rainbow stickers. I don't understand the.
They celebrate pride. They don't hide it, deny it, say it's bad. That's the difference.
I have been attending these meetings and
That's the
school board
difference.
meetings for years and years. And I was there at almost all of the ones where the community would absolutely, not the entire community, some members of the community were absolutely outraged that there were rainbow stickers visible anywhere in the schools.
Yes,
Because
and that's
they
when
were
I
not
started.
acceptable.
I
Yeah,
was trying to figure out where is this coming
And
from?
you can have and one of Anne's memos, I don't remember which one, she said, 10 years ago, you could have said, great. But that's the reason, like, putting it in policy is tricky, because you have to be able to adjust with your community. And I am absolutely 100% positive. You have to have a community that wants to celebrate it, and sticking it on things to help people find it and not run them against it. And we don't want to celebrate pride here. That's the difference.
So let me ask a question. How many do we have as a percentage of libraries that use rainbow stickers across the country?
I have no idea.
Is it popular among libraries? Do we know?
Right now, I can't even imagine what's normal anymore. So
The reason I'm
everything's
asking is,
changing because people are now able to say they don't want pride. And that trans people are bad. So I'm not gonna bring that down upon myself, and it is a compromise. But Trenton's a different community. So all the ones in, like,
I lived there, and I don't think it's much different than here. I don't
Right.
understand.
okay, so are you giving me the direction that I should just put the rainbow stickers on?
No,
and
I'm
be done with this?
not. I'm fine with it anyway. I'm just so confused.
I know.
so can I make just a
Sure, Bill, go for
question?
it. Yeah.
To me, if a rainbow sticker would be a matter of interpretation for whoever was looking at it. If it was people who want to celebrate pride, they would view it as a pride issue. And if it was people who want
But
to
all the
avoid
feedback
books,
I'm getting,
you would have both sides
We don't have both
satisfied.
sides. The only feedback we've gotten
is negative.
is negative. And we have emails from constituents saying, I don't want those gay books, you need to label them and remove them. That's the evidence.
Well, as a board, we've said we will not remove them because it
Oh, I know,
would
I
be a
made the
violation
suggestion to
of the
remove that
first,
from the
it would
policy.
be a violation of the.
But that's not what we're talking about.
Okay, so
right
we're
now.
back to my review. Okay?
Wait, let's finish.
Yeah.
Okay, so Janine got to speak. Does anyone else want to speak about the legal issues that, or anything that Sarah said, because she talked for a long time? Does anyone else want to say anything before we move on?
Yeah.
Well, in terms of what our expectations of her, I would like some clarification on what the social issue genre is. A definition, because not every book in the children's section with an LGBT character is,
Yeah.
when I'm done
It's in the
this.
notes.
Not every book in the children's section with any LGBT characters is going to fall under the social issue genre. Right, and I would also like to say that whatever our supervisory or check-ins on these needs to be done as the whole board. No individual trustee has any authority to make a decision about what books should or should not be included, and no committee does either. If somebody has a problem, well, because there's been specific requests of this should be labeled, right? So, and that's, we can't do that. No, the only power, decision-making power, comes when there's a quorum in open session. So no trustees have the authority to go to staff and say, this book needs a label.
Of course not.
But it's happened. So I'm just clarifying, so we're all on the same page. And we need a definition, and if somebody has a problem with the decisions that staff are making, then that will need to be discussed with the whole board.
And just to clarify too, these are not just the challenge books, right? So you're going to have your staff go through each, right? Because
Well-
that's what, this is where,
That's where the confusion lies.
Right.
I mean, and we, I don't know, do the definition first, then I'll talk
social issues, genre, and juvenile, well, this says in juvenile fiction, so that's, I mean, is this
And where's
is
that
just
from?
what we have, this is from one of our September 12th, from Sarah.
Okay, so let's do different.
Mhm. But this also said in juvenile fiction, so I don't know,
It's a juvenile fiction thing,
so it's only a juvenile, it's
yes.
only for juvenile. But you had said in our personnel meeting that you were gonna go,
I didn't agree to it, it
All
was in
across.
the review.
but you
I don't want
asked
to,
Dawn and I.
Okay, so
That's the whole point
let's
of
do one
this.
thing at a time.
Yeah.
Let's do one thing at a time, I'm sorry.
I know, it's hard.
So, let's have the
Well, that's why
definition,
we're doing this.
and then we'll talk about where we're going. So go ahead.
Okay, if the title in the juvenile fiction section was assessed as fitting the social issues genre, in parentheses, fiction in which a prevailing social problem such as gender, race, or class prejudice is dramatized through its effect on the characters of a novel, similar to realistic fiction, but with a direct focus on activism or dismantling the social problem. End of parentheses. Comma, a spine label was attached. As stated in the definition, this label was not applied to any of our nonfiction collections. And then this just, you were giving a description of what was done during the
That
challenge.
was the challenge stuff, yeah, which is my words. And I don't know if that's like a legal definition, it's just a librarian thing that sounds acceptable to me. I don't know who wrote it, right? It might have been on the package of the stickers, so I don't think it holds up in a court of law, okay?
Like the Bill of Rights.
Yeah,
So, okay,
but not as special as everyone. It's just a genre sticker.
so moving along, that is what you did for the book challenge.
Yes.
So what it sounds, what it looks like for the goals here, and what,
What are you looking at?
is to finish labeling of books, okay?
That's where
So
finish
that's-
confused me, yeah. I haven't started.
Okay,
Mhm.
so understand that a lot of, for the email as well, a lot of the board thought, we
Yes.
weren't aware of the conversation that you just had with staff to say, stop, we're not gonna do that.
And in our defense, when we read
Right.
books, a lot of them were labeled.
Yes,
We're like,
because-
okay, the project
Right.
is started,
Right.
that's why we.
And that was where I decided I'd see how you all felt about it through some kind of discussion in a room.
Would it be okay to?
Do it tonight?
To initiate the restart, of labeling the books?
Restart.
So that, because there was a stop.
Well, no,
There's a
I
start.
never did this.
Right,
I was
so,
told to do it to appease people. So yes, we're talking about that now,
I mean,
right?
can we begin? Is that okay?
Bill. I was ready to do it until the confusion started again. So do you have more to say?
No, I was just
Okay.
trying to say here, so you're ready to do this,
Mhm.
so within the goal set for 26, and the reason why it says finish labeling books, again, for the emails and for
Continue
there.
or
So
begin.
it should be, can begin,
Mhm.
Yeah, it should be.
it should be
not
begin
finish.
labeling of the books.
Yeah.
So can we add some detail to that? Because
Yes,
performance goals need to be.
Correct, correct.
What labels?
So begin with social issues label of the books in the juvenile and children's section.
So juvenile is the whole, everyone below teen. And I've given you a few times, like, all the sections. So there's Juve, which is there's tween and then teen above that, and then juve is everything below it. In the meeting, we talked about board books and picture books, which is not juve fiction. It's picture books, which is quite a lot. If she's ready to go and do that, the librarian does those. And honestly, I'm not gonna give the direction to just do social issues. They're gonna put genre labels on every book.
Well, that's fine.
And I think that that will be more
That's
helpful.
more fair,
Yes,
too.
exactly.
Yeah.
And less stigmatizing.
Unless there just isn't one, but I mean, and we only do one genre label, and we have to pick one sometimes, and sometimes it's not the perfect one. I'm not doing 10 labels, because you cover up all the pretty stuff. They're only this big. Right? We talked about board book and picture book, and I think that is acceptable now that I see what we're talking about, but I was confused in the moment. And I appreciate being able to talk like this. This is a better review than I had when I didn't know what was going on, and we didn't have all the info. And I think it's good for everyone to hear. I'm sad Nancy's not, but we have the report. So that is an acceptable goal. I think begin and check in 6 months and see if it's doing what you think it's gonna do. I mean, that's easy enough because that's something I delegate. I just need to make sure it's happening. Correct? I'm not doing it, I'm delegating it.
So you would start, okay, so the goal would be, start with, okay, so from what I'm hearing, and that's what I want to clarify, you would start with the board and picture books? Okay,
I would prefer a shorter time period because it hasn't happened up to this point.
I'm fine with
Make up
6
for
months.
lost time.
I'm fine with 6 months. We have, again,
But you can check on me every month at personnel. I mean, check in every month and see. And I can put a report in every board package about how many. If that's important.
I think it would be helpful.
Sure, and then we won't go so long not knowing what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
So the other goal that I think is valid is, which is the one I came to the meeting prepared to talk about, but it really got brushed aside, is Cromaine comments. The reason I got brushed aside is because I started arguing with them about this because I thought I hadn't started and they thought I had. So I understand now, and I apologize for how long that meeting took. Sorry, but it helps to have the context. My reaction is valid, your reaction is valid, but we're both talking about different things. The community needs to hear this too, and that's why I wanted to do an open session. We are not always fighting if we listen to each other. But the outdoor project is going to be my main goal for the year. I will delegate this other thing to staff. I need to know that what Holly said is important, that you can make sure we're doing this thing, but I don't need input on it until 6 months from now. I mean, you can say, have you moved? Is it happening? And I've been assured the board will defend me to people in the community who think it's inadequate. Because that will happen. Because it's a goal you've placed on me, and I will do it as directed, and then hopefully the community will see action and be satisfied.
I'd like to ask a question.
Yeah.
In pertaining to the book labeling goal, are we going to find ourselves in a quandary? This is being addressed to all of us. Yet again, if we don't agree with what has been done.
Yes.
So have we accommodated any of that, or is that going to be a conversation and discussion when it occurs?
I mean, if we say it's a staff decision, then no, we won't get out of the quandary because it's a staff decision.
And I agree with that. And my position is Sarah's responsible for it. Sarah's delegating it to her staff. The action that her staff does is appropriate, right, based on their education and everything. And we are going to be, as a board, satisfied with the action taken.
Well, that's part of why I wanted to see what was happening with the challenge, because I don't feel confident in that based on all this. But I don't know what's gonna happen next. I'm assured it'll be fine.
And that's why I'm bringing it up.
Yes, and that has been part of the delay, because I think it's valid to wait and see and be assured, because I've been assured and then it's changed.
Yeah.
And that is a valid response to getting the rug pulled out.
Well, if I remember correctly in our discussions, the reason why we're reading each book individually is in making decisions is because we were told that staff had made those decisions and we were not in agreement with that. And
I don't.
Like she just said.
Right, I don't, so we have meticulously crafted the collections policy.
Right.
And it's not that the board was in disagreement with what was happening, it's that there was a appeal to what was done. And the appeal is what is being brought to the board. It's not that the board disagreed, per the process and the policy, that the appeal is heard. And ergo, the appeal is being brought to the board.
Right, but the board is checking Sarah's work. That's what we're doing with the appeals process, right? To see if we agree with the decision she made.
That's what we discussed, right?
Yeah,
Correct. You know, before we went
Yeah.
doing it, it was
Yeah.
because of some of the.
I think your question is, are we going to be checking the work on every book that gets one of these labels?
And I don't wanna be
I don't
looking
want
at
to.
10,000 books and trying to determine what color label it. I don't wanna do that. So I want,
They won't be colors.
well, whatever.
Whatever it is, whatever it is.
Whatever is chosen, I don't even wanna be involved in trying to decide what
Yes.
that
And
label looks
the
like.
beauty of a genre label is, it is not a legally binding thing. I can change it at any time.
Right.
And I can change it on a whim. I can change it because I've decided this book is no longer representing whatever, and it now represents food or whatever the hot thing is. And the books come and go. So again, I hope what the community and you all are learning is collection development has the word development because it's in and out, in and out. What's hot now is not hot in 5 years, and what is a classic changes over time.
Because I will say, because I did the same thing that you did. I went through all the past years to track the discussions. I did the same, we all did.
Well, it's helpful to have it written down, because I don't even remember, and I'm the one who most involved.
We've all done it.
Right, right.
We've all done it.
We don't have a labeling policy.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
only the section.
It's delegated to the.
It's delegated to the director.
Oh, yeah, but there's nothing specifically that calls out this equals this thing.
Because it's delegated to staff.
Because we're relying on the director to do her work.
Yes,
Yeah, I would
that's
agree,
appropriate.
I would agree with that comment, yeah, but we don't, I guess my point is just, we don't have specific verbiage that dictates and mandates the execution of how
The
this
board is
is.
not involved in genre.
We did,
labels.
right.
I would agree, and I would agree with you, and I agree that's the appropriate role that the board plays. So anyway, so where
That's
are
good to know.
Yeah,
Well, and the second goal, I don't want to just, the second goal will take up most of the next 6 months for me. So this week, I have been very involved in the bid process setting, which is hard to show people because there are people coming in the building and checking the size of our pipes and coming out and making sure that connect. And it's a lot of my time away from my desk. It's a lot of my time away from my phone. It's a lot of my time when I don't have time for this. And while I can do that if I'm allowed to delegate, I can't if I'm not. And so when you say Cromaine Commons, it's not just, do the ribbon cutting. There's a lot that goes into that.
there's a lot.
Yes, and I'm a bit overwhelmed right now with all the lot, and I'm trying to lay it out, which is why I'm glad you all adjusted the schedule for not making me do every committee meeting in 1 month, 1 week, so that we can do whatever. And I will try to ask for what I need. But it's not just one thing. I've never done it before. I'm getting the support I need from the professionals who are paying for it. Like, I feel like it could happen. If it's close tomorrow, we'll find out how many we get.
How do you feel that the board can help you with this?
Let me delegate and don't micromanage me. Tell me when I'm not communicating enough. when I get overwhelmed, I tend to not communicate, I can't. So I was happy to see in the review that you thought I was communicating enough, because I was trying not to communicate too much about all the things. Right, so like ask if there's questions, but it can't be, where's the label on this book, what's the thing on this book? I mean, like, unless we set up a time where we do that. The other thing, and I think Janine and I kind of have touched on this, I don't think we'll get there tonight, but I just want to say it. It's been a bit overwhelming for me, the community's response to the book challenges, because I am still the person at work who answers the phone and has to answer their questions. And I haven't figured out the best way to do that with still giving out good information and being stewards of your work without being obstructive or unavailable. And we had discussed in personnel, perhaps setting up some times in January or February where there'd be some open times that aren't this, for the board to talk to the public. You don't have open hours. It can't just be an email to one person. That would take some stress off me, because people are engaged in this, good or bad, and I'm spending a lot of time with people, which is supposed to be helpful, but it's not helping me get my work done. So it's just, it's tricky.
So I think we should, like we talked about before, where people could come in and talk to us.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. I volunteer to do it. Anyone else wants to do it? I mean, I feel like people are often, because of communication, are not understanding exactly what we're doing, and they're doing something else.
Yeah.
You could still be unhappy with what we're doing, but sometimes if you talk, it makes it, the reasoning is sometimes important, and it's important to listen to each other. So what happens is the call to the public, it seems like we're not listening to you because we're not allowed to respond. We're not allowed to respond, but we do listen to everybody. And I think the more we talk to each other, it would actually maybe make things a little more collegial and maybe take some pressure off of Sarah, because she's probably getting it from everybody. From everybody in the community. So I think it would be nice if, even if like a couple of us have a thing where people come in, like we talked before, have coffee with us, come and sit and have coffee with us, talk to us. We're people too. It would be really nice if we could talk to each other instead of there's yelling. I mean, we've been called names. I do appreciate that has spiked down a lot. I appreciate that, because we were being called names for months that are completely, in my opinion, are unfair, because you don't actually know me. You don't know what my opinions are. So I think that would really help.
Yeah.
So I think that should be one of our goals as a board.
Yeah, it needs to be a board.
That was a good
member.
discussion that we had, and that is part of what's hard. It's hard to ask for help with that because it's hard to articulate, but I have been doing a lot of work on that end with that goal. These meetings aren't set up for that.
Right, exactly. It's set up to actually make people think we're ignoring you. It's kind of the way the public meeting acts is written, is we're not allowed to say anything. So
And
then,
to do the business of the board, do the business of the library, that's.
So do we have a board member who would like to take the work of that on, so it doesn't land on staff?
Are you talking about coffee with
Coffee with trustees.
So I have volunteered, I'm willing to do that now, but I
actually have another job now too, so
Okay.
if you want to set it up,
yeah,
my hours are flexible. I'm willing to do it,
Yeah.
but I don't feel like I can take on being in charge of it.
Yeah.
If that's fair.
yeah, and I had an interest in this before, like personal issues.
Yeah, which is,
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure that doesn't just get
Yeah,
added on, because
Right.
we're trying to take it off the staff.
and I,
Right, so would it be acceptable to just go ahead and just clear it with you and put it on the calendar and meet you with Cromaine?
We can set that up, I think.
Yeah. Right.
But I think it might be helpful, and I don't know that we could even ask. I think I could just connect you with some people to start. So that would be helpful. The other thing that I had come ready to talk about, and we don't have to belabor tonight, but I do need personnel's support and assistance, and I will be bringing it up in the next few meetings. We need to get more technology support. I'm still doing hours a week of that job, even though we're paying for the technology support. So I'm making a plan for probably listing a job again sometime this year. I don't know though, because again, who do you get and what does it look like? Because again, that's a huge process, like bringing somebody in and trying to undo whatever we've done. But the real bottleneck right now for staff is I am still the point person for the technology, even though we have a firm, it's still everything, it's still just.
That's not working.
It's
So the firm isn't working?
it's not that they're not working, it's just that you need a point person, and it can't be me, I can't be the point person for everything.
Right.
I haven't figured it out yet, but I do think that I'll bring some kind of proposal both to finance and personnel, because we're gonna have to figure out a way to do that.
I'd be 100% behind that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a person that does that for me. And
Yeah, it's important to have
you
somebody.
can't do it.
You can.
You can only wear so
Right,
many
right.
hats.
Yeah,
Right.
and, that hat's getting heavy, so, that's it, I feel better about that. I'd like to say that I appreciate being able to do the review in public, because this is probably boring as heck for you all, it's 9 o'clock at night, so I feel like I have what I need, the goals are. Did someone write it down? Something about the labels, we'll check in monthly, but within 6 months, there'll be progress on this. And I think we should say genre labels, because like.
That's what you,
It will
that's what you
inflame
said.
people to say those.
Genre labels
Yes.
on books, starting with the,
As well as other things, because I'm gonna task them with like collection, like teaching people how to find things, not just avoid things, but how to find things, because.
Maybe you can find the science fiction books that they got one.
yes, yeah.
No.
No.
That's an adult question, I answered.
Okay, sorry.
So, and then work on the project. So I will start leaning heavily on that ad hoc committee. Sadly, you're gonna have meetings every month for just a
That's
6 months
good.
span.
That's good.
And we really need to focus on that at first, because I don't want us to be so distracted that we don't pay attention. Because we should not assume that the person we're paying to set it up is checking every box. I still need to look at it. Okay. I'm comfortable with those as goals. Thank you.
I'd like to add a goal there too. I wish that if you have issues, or I wish you could go to personnel committee and state, communicate. I'm not on personnel committee, so I don't know if this has happened, so I can't speak for that too, but my hope would be that you could go to committee and say, I'm having an issue with technology. I'm having an issue with what have you. I'm having an issue with meeting with a lot of people in the community from this book challenge. That would be wonderful, and again, I'm not on personnel committee, I'm not aware as to what's happened, but I would hope that could be a goal too, to communicate what you need and what the staff needs.
I mean, that is a reasonable response.
Well, I would like to say here, in the public, this is in the board packet, and this is published, her review is published online. There's a lot of really good comments, and there's a lot of really good things that Sarah has been doing, okay? So this is all online, it's all available there, it's in the board packet. Some of the things and some of the comments I just would like to share with the community here as well. She's done a heck of a job with this Cromaine comments, and we as a board, I'm really excited about that. She is a huge outreach in the community to the point where it's almost concerning as a board member, because I think maybe some of your personal family time might suffer from that, with your involvement. And there's also another shout out for someone else in the community that does so much, and that would be Liz. I'm always amazed as to every different thing that you're involved with the community. And it was clearly shown again, and it's clearly online as to all the good things that Sarah has done in the community. Her outreach is impeccable.
Right. So what percentage increases? That's what we vote on.
Yeah.
And 7 last.
I was gonna say, that's what we did last year. I was gonna say, Sarah, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the board help me out. I think you do salary studies and
This
have,
year was
okay, because you have always recommended
For
use
cost
of
of
bond.
living, or
For the staff.
sorry, for
This
the staff in
year
general.
was 2.9 for cost of living, and personnel suggested raising it to 5%. So everyone got a 5% in July. So,
I mean, I'm comfortable with 5. I say it's appropriate, and I echo the sentiments that have been said. Thank you for everything this year. As I say, I think the review and comments are very positive and good. I'm saying that based upon industry, based upon the environment, based upon the financial status and all of the other topics that go into it.
For 5%. I would agree.
You're the treasurer.
You're the treasurer. I moved then for a 5.
Okay.
Any more discussion, I should just say, here's it. Move for a 5%,
Is there a second?
increase.
I'll second.
And now it's your discussion. Is there no discussion? All in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion so prevails unanimously.
see, we didn't have to leave the room. Good job. Excellent. Thank you.
Item G, book challenge process, which is the book list are attached.
So I am leading the discussion because this came out of our committee. This came out of our committee for outreach committee, so that is why I'm leading this discussion. So I'd like to start this off with the library board is the final authority on decisions involving retention, relocating, and labeling of materials. The board has removed language from policies that states the board has the authority to remove books. The director is the only person that can remove books. As for the book challenge appeals process, the board has the authority to retain, keep books where they currently are, relocate, move to a different section, label, sexually explicit labels for materials. This is per our policy that is very transparent. It's online, policy 3010. The board is exercising and implementing this policy while reviewing the books on the appeal process. Again, the choices for the board are to retain, relocate, or label, not remove books. So since November, the books for review here, we weren't able to read all of the books that were originally put forward. It is hard and an arduous process. But the first one that we would like to go through is picture book. It's called Being You, A First Conversation About Gender by Madison B. So with the board, how this would go here, I'm assuming, would you like to retain where it's currently at, relocate it, or put a label on there?
For reference, is it possible to provide what the director decision was? Or can
I do have.
I have notes on most of them.
Okay,
Yeah. Circulation and decision.
okay,
It was on the
yeah,
spreadsheet.
and I know we have.
Right, that was on the spreadsheet that was online.
Or it was moved to parenting big concerns with the dog. Actually, that was the only one that I didn't find the circulation number for.
Did you want all of them, Becky, then?
I just think for discussion purposes, it would.
It'll make it easier.
Yeah, I have that for the ones I
Thank
had.
you, Holly.
Right.
Good have it.
I believe that I support Parent Sarah's decision on this.
So for Being You, would you support where it's currently at, which would be meaning we would vote to retain that book where it's currently located?
Yes,
I think we need to do a roll call vote on this one.
I was gonna ask, do you want to go around the table? Should we just?
If anyone has any,
If there's any have any discussion, I guess.
and then we'll go around the table.
Any discussion?
No.
So is it unanimous that this will be retained? Okay. Is that a yes?
Told me that was the original discussion. For your notes, right? That was Sarah's original.
What's the question? I can't hear you.
What action was taken? I have moved to parenting big concerns with dot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. So we're good on that one too, to keep it where it's at. Next one will be bigwig. And the decision for that was to put a social issues label on there. Is there any, is the board, any discussion?
I'm fine with,
Fine with where it is, retain it where it's currently at. Danny and Data by Brocking. The decision was to put a social issues label on there.
So I have a question about that. I don't think that simply having same-sex parents is a social issue genre in question. It's not about, it doesn't meet the definition of, you probably already put that away.
the social issue label.
Yeah, so the ones that I have pulled up, because that's actually pretty hard to find a clear definition online, focused on societal challenges and injustices, aim to raise awareness, provoke thought, and inspire change. Like, it was a simple board book. There's no social issue being discussed. I agree that being you is, because that was a pointed message to that book. This is just, as I've had notes on it, just a book about a family.
I think that it's to destigmatize the social issue of having two parents of the same sex. I think that's why, I didn't put the label on it, but I imagine that's why the library is put on it, and I think that's fine.
Can I ask a question for a moment? So, and this is how I operated, so I'm getting kind of lost. So, we were given a list of books to read, we were given a sheet of paper to fill out, we were given 4 or 5 line items to answer yes or no. And this all pertained to sexually explicit
We shouldn't
material.
even be talking about
We-
stickers.
we-
Yeah.
That's
Right,
what's
that's what I'm saying, it's on,
Yeah.
that's what you,
That's-
you had asked though, what happened and where it's at. So the decision,
So
the decision that the board is talking about right now with these books is to retain, keep them where they're currently at, relocate, or label.
Right, the sexually explicit label.
Right, the
Okay.
sexually explicit.
So, just to clarify, and I'm okay with this, but we will not be questioning where the social issue labels go in either direction.
That's not.
Correct.
I was
That's not-
not
that's not-
operating
right.
under that
Okay,
premise
right.
with this
That's not part of
exercise.
this challenge.
And that's why
Right.
my question to Sarah was.
Yeah, and if I change them, because staff did argue with me about this one.
Okay.
You know, it could be
Okay.
families,
Right,
and I can decide later I want to change it. So you're just saying it's not sexually explicit.
correct.
That's the premise I was working on
Right,
based
right.
on the
That's
instructions.
helpful, and that's something
Right.
I wanted clarification.
Right.
Well, I thought it would be useful to look in the parenting session, educational, in talking about issues, because there's a myriad of circumstances where a book like this could be of great value. If you had a traditional husband-wife marriage and it dissolved and you wound up in a different marital situation and there were two people of the same gender, you would have issues that would need to be discussed with children. So that's what I thought about the book.
We agree it's not sexually explicit and.
Correct.
Correct.
It's not so-
Correct.
So are we saying for Danny and Dada to retain it where it's currently at? Next would be family book. Family book is currently juvenile picture books. Would you like to retain it, relocate it, or leave it?
Leave it where it is.
Retain, leave it where it is better.
Yes.
I Am Not a Girl, a transgender story.
Leave it where it is.
That one we done all.
Oh,
Do we?
Right, but we all read it. Currently not on the shelf and has been searched for, as we have not yet found the item, it has been marked missing.
Yeah, I was curious. what
Yeah,
you
Oh, I
guys-
got it.
We got it, well, because it was part, because we were supposed to read it. So it happens to come, leave it in the, retain it in that section.
And that was part of my question, when I said, what are you looking at in the appeal? Because it's the top, anyway, it doesn't matter. Keep going.
Okay, the next one would be Love Violet. It's currently in juvenile books. Do we want to retain, relocate, or label? Retain? Peanut Goes for Gold. Retain, relocate, label.
I went through Tina, and I actually really liked that one a lot.
That was okay. Plenty of Hugs. Retain, relocate.
Retain.
What are your words? A book about pronouns.
Okay.
Worm loves worm. Retain, relocate,
Okay.
retain. You had two other teen books, but there's only one that we can discuss that the whole board has read, and that would be Beyond Magenta. So with reading Beyond Magenta, there are several different page numbers that talk either about sexually explicit material, several different situations. In my opinion, I think we should either put a sexually explicit label on there or move it to adult. It seems like we don't want to label adult books, and I'm just going to pull this one out that's on the shelf currently. That this book, Naked, is in the adult section, although it does not have a sexually explicit label. This book, in general, has some, I'm not even gonna read it, but
But why are you talking about that?
I'm trying to show about the label, how it's labeled, okay? So this one was in the teen section, I understand, and it is now been moved to the adult section. So we
Why?
can either have, pardon me,
Why?
you moved it.
I moved it because someone came and showed it to me and I said, yeah, this should
This
move.
should be, well,
And
this
it
should
was
be
a
moved,
simple process.
right?
So,
Okay,
That's,
so.
that's all you have to do. Is talk to me in a reasonable manner with one book.
So the definition of sexually explicit
That's it.
verbal material is, what's your name, performance, yeah, we're in verbal material. A book, pamphlet, magazine, printed matter reproduced in any manner or sound recording that contains an explicit and detailed verbal description or narrative account of sexual excitement, erotic fondling, sexual intercourse, or sadomasochistic abuse. I hear what you're saying about this book. This is a more mature content book, and it talks. It's nonfiction, and it's interviews with trans individuals, and some of their childhoods were rough.
Yeah,
But this is not a sexually exciting book, right? It talks about rough childhoods, but that's part of what collections are, right? That people learn a broader understanding that not everybody is lucky enough to have a good childhood.
correct. But if we're talking about sexually explicit material, I will read the expert.
I mean, I read the book, I know.
Okay, it was sexually mature. Well, let's be fully, when I mean by sexually mature, it's that I knew about sex from age 6 up. I used to kiss other guys in my neighborhood, make out with them, and perform sexual acts. I liked it. I used to love oral sex, and I touched their you-know-whats. We are really young, but that's what we did. I was making out with girls too. I used to love making out with girls because everybody thought it was cool. Everybody was encouraging me. Look, he's not gay, making out with girls. Guys used to hit on me perverts. Need I go on here?
I don't see it.
I'd see guys giving me, pardon me?
You should go on, I haven't seen it yet.
I'd see guys giving me a look and it kind of creeped me out. They would touch themselves saying, "Come here, sweetie. Something told me not to go. I ran away. I ran to where there was a lot of people."
Yeah, it's a terrible account of an abused child. It's
Correct.
right, but that doesn't make it such, it doesn't have a detailed, explicit and detailed description. Right.
I used to kiss other guys in my neighborhood, make out with them and perform. How is that not sexually
Wait,
explicit?
perform what? Keep going, I don't remember. Because you're allowed to.
Fellatio. I liked it. I used to love, I used,
Like, really, I'm not supposed to argue with you.
Yeah, but that's my point, like, I mean, if we need to, we can pull in an adult book with a detailed graphic description.
Right,
like-
and that's why those books are in the adult
And that is why those
section.
books are in the adult
But I
section.
actually agree with Janine, I think the content, I think the book is geared towards, not geared towards adults, so I don't wanna move it to adult, because I don't think that's appropriate, because it's supposed to be for kids to read. Or, you know, but I feel like parents should be made aware, and I feel like there should be a sticker on it, it should stay where it is, and that's my opinion, as a community standard, that's what I think. But it's not one person's decision, but that's my thought process when I read it, that's my thought, and, you know, some parents are gonna want their kids to read that, because you're right, there's different life experiences, and it may maybe prevent them when maybe something bad happens to them, maybe they sense it. You know what I mean, and like know that it's bad, but I think that should be for the parent to decide, and I feel like there should be a sticker on it.
Right, and actually, I agree that that gets to the fundamental question of what we've been asking is, are we, as a government elected official, going to be making parenting decisions?
Or we're not, we're letting the parents make their own decision on whether to choose to bring the book home or not.
We can,
And we're just
we can
giving
make
them a
that
heads up,
decision.
giving them a heads up that there's sexual content in it, that's what the whole thing about compromise and making sure things are available for people. I don't know if everyone agrees with me, I don't wanna move the book, because I feel like it's geared towards a certain age group. So.
I agree as well. I don't believe that the book should be moved.
And there are many parents that would want
I
their kid to read it, and there
Right.
are many parents that would be alarmed by that content and think that it's sexually explicit, and it's, I think, our community standard that it is. That's my opinion, but it's obviously not just me deciding.
Maybe we can vote.
If there was a label on the book, then, you know, right, it would give the parents the option that maybe they would want to read it first and see if, you know what, it's fine, you can read it, or, you know, but that gives them, like you said, the alarm or the alert.
So the choices would be to retain it, to put a label on it, or relocate it. So,
I would be in favor of relocating this one for a number of different reasons, up to and including that Health and Human Services today has just said that they are going to ban transgender surgeries for minors, and by restricting funds to hospitals.
That doesn't have anything to
Is
do.
that in the book?
It is. There's
No, but there's a
father
lot of
who-
books about things that are illegal in the library, like there's
Murder.
books about
There's
murder.
books about
Yeah,
Right, but
that,
but they're in sections that make it easier to access or.
it. Okay.
I understand where you're coming from, Bill, I do, but I feel like it should be the parent's choice. Even whether something's legal or not, I mean, it should be the parent's choice whether they can read it or not. And I feel like it should have a sticker. I understand where you're coming from, but I actually disagree on that. I feel like the parent should decide, because if it's an adult section, then it's not gonna be there. But the parent should decide whether to bring it home or not. But I don't know, I guess I'm just saying the same thing again.
But everyone's, that's why we're having the board discussion, because everyone's entitled
So I want to give you
to other things they like to do.
I support retaining it in the section.
So the first one, Holly, you would say retained. Anybody else would think that it should be, retained?
And it should be the adult section.
Does anybody else think it should be moved to the adult section? Label, have a label and keep it in the current section.
Definitely.
I'm for a label and keeping it in the current section.
Yeah, keep it in the current section.
With the label? So Beyond Gentle will have a label of sexually explicit material and be kept in the teen section. That's all we have tonight. Okay.
Excellent.
Is that the lady?
Before we adjourn, actually, before we do anything, because we're still on this topic,
Right.
are we gonna do we have a list of the next books so we can start our homework?
So we're on this topic
We're
too.
running into a problem.
Pardon me?
We're running into a problem.
What?
With books. Accessibility.
Now, okay, so the books that we currently have, there's quite a few of them downstairs. And how to do it, feel free to go ahead and grab, they're behind the circulation desk. They're already there, someone's read all of them already, but, and there's more. We had agreed to just do 10, but because I was worried about getting some of these, when I originally first checked the first day, there was only 7 that came in, so no 7. So with that being said, there's now 20 to review, but we would be doing this January and February, or at the January meeting, if we can get through as many of these at the January meeting. We still have rollover though, from the November books. So as to, we can post that next list online, but there's still rollover from the books that we haven't read.
Okay, so we're
gonna post that
with the ones to
online,
be.
like by Friday or for the next set of books, okay? So, just so you guys know too, there is a stack of the, sheets, there's a stack of the forms. Okay, so in the bins, there's a stack of the forms in there. There's it's already in there with a, sorry, Darlene, I used a couple of your envelopes there. Okay, and then there's another one that says completed envelopes, or the completed forms, just stick your forms in there. There's also a notebook that I have in there, is after we completed them, we'll stick the forms in there so Sarah gets availability to them, and it's public, it's record for her to see if we need to. Is that simple?
So you're still gonna need 2 copies, one goes in.
No, you don't need 2 copies. So just put the one completed copy, because that copy will never leave the library. Okay, I will do like the sheet at home, okay? Does that help? And look at the list online of,
Maybe, I don't know if it was helpful.
okay,
Okay,
it's,
so for the public, that was a lot of discussion. Can we summarize what just happened? They were talking about how they're gonna handle next month's books, which I'm not clear on it, so do you just wanna, they were just discussing how to get the books. They have a special system now in the library. And a list will go on the website tomorrow of what, because I don't know what it is.
Sure.
Right, or do we
I
have
sent
it?
you an email, that's okay.
Today?
Yeah, yesterday, or if she could include it in the packet, but that's okay, no worries.
Are we prioritizing
That's
the
okay.
ones from this month, or does it not matter?
Okay, the ones from November, it'd be great if we could get through the rest of those first.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know what I mean, and then the rest of these ones are graphic novels. So some of them go real quick, quick. I was able to get through 6 of them in an hour.
Oh,
Okay, so just that was the idea to show that we're, like, to make it a little bit
so happy
faster.
holidays to us.
Well, right, but mind you, we had agreed on 10, but there's like 20.
So we can
like-
go ahead and read ahead.
Go ahead and read ahead, you know what I mean? So whatever we can get through, you know what I'm saying? And then as we do them, then we'll give that information to you.
It would help me, I mean, I think just to resend that, or maybe.
I
send it to
will.
the whole group. Because I'm not, because we were so hesitant about what was coming in,
Right,
and I'm not clear that I know the list.
okay, no worries. I'll get that to you tomorrow or Saturday, is that okay? Okay, tomorrow, okay.
We, on that list, will you put the ones from this month that we didn't cover, just so it's.
Oh, yeah, because the Bianca, right, the Bianca, yeah, and the
I
rest
think
of
that's
us,
the
yes.
version on here.
Yeah.
Oh, the rest of the ones that we, okay, perfect, yeah, yes. Because some of them, it's like we're missing one person, or we didn't have a chance to read all of them. Okay, yes.
So there'll be a lot of carryover.
Yes, there will be. Okay. I'll get that to you, okay? Is that okay, Darren, by Saturday?
So what we should probably do is figure out which ones were not read by board members. So
Right.
we then put
That's
those ones
Yes,
aside
that's, yeah,
from November, not from, right.
sorry. Comments from the board.
Yes, comments from the board. Any additional comments from the board?
I'd like to say thank you to everyone for the constructive dialogue and the willingness to listen and
Thank you. All right, we are now going to go to call to the public. So what I'm going to let you, if you want to speak, please make sure you fill out one of these forms. And the form needs to have your name and address on it. And I'm saying that because there's one right here that we're not going to be able to address, as there's only 2 initials with no address.
We
So
can't legally restrict people from speaking.
we don't know how to, we don't know who to call.
But we can't legally restrict them.
Right, we have to.
Yeah.
Just ask, I would say we ask people to respectfully say
Put their name.
where they live.
And where you live. And so if you happen to fill one out and you put your initials on, you may come forward at this time.
can I, before you begin, I'm gonna try something new, and I'm going to put my computer screen up so you can see the countdown.
Okay.
Good.
So, but bear with me and give me grace, because this is the first time. So,
But before we do, we caught a public here. Want to keep in mind here, the legal definition here, you can still, you can't, what is you can't.
Well, you can say whatever. you want.
You can say whatever you want, but it doesn't mean that you can't. Libel and slander are still applicable under the First Amendment with this.
Yes, your comments are to be directed toward the chairman of the board. Hold on one second.
I want to say that.
So what we want to reiterate is the public must be permitted to participate in the rules. This is not a Q&A. It's not solicitation or of raised hands. We are to listen, address the chair only, not board members or staff individually. Robert's rules effectively controls it. It's fact-finding, concern, authority, and you need to understand that the rules apply to the same, no rude, crude, yelling, or other criticism, petitions, pet peeves, or redress of grievances against the government. Please make sure that you're near the microphone in a room of this size. That's fairly easy to do. When you're comfortable, you'll be allowed to begin. In terms of disturbing a public meeting, MCL 750.170 addresses this, no breach of the peace, be excluded from the meeting, words, gestures, yelling, challenges, defiant abuse of noise, etc. Make sure you understand that certain libel and slander laws still protect public officials, staff, and resident patrons. Understand there are many witnesses to the behavior. There's a recording that's taking place. Criticism and being harsh is okay, but we can ask you, the chair can ask you to please stop, calm down, lower your voice, issue a warning, cease disturbing the meeting, restrain yourself or face consequences. You have X amount of minutes left. We can call recess for people to calm down, take a restroom break. We can call the sheriff for help if necessary. We can call for recess, leaving the room, keeping the video recording going. And within this, you have to understand freedom of speech can land a speaker in civil court. And this is something that is stated all across the country in public meetings. And it is just part of the process of maintaining civility. And right now, you can go ahead and start and you may address the board.
From 1919 to 1933, the Institute for Sexual Science was a nonprofit foundation in Tiergarten, Berlin, that acted as a research library and archive of literature and studies pertaining to sexual health and education, women's health, and gender and sexuality studies. It provided early forms of gender-affirming care to transgender patients, and it was also an archive of studies, literature, and art from gay, transgender, and intersex people. The library was destroyed during Hitler's rise to power. The Nazis believed that any information on topics having to do with gender and sexuality were un-German, and that this was information that was capable of ruining society, so it was destroyed. Yesterday, the House of Representatives passed a bill that would seek to criminalize doctors for providing gender-affirming care for transgender minors. This is part of a larger plot to eradicate transgender people in the United States. It is killing the tree by pulling at the roots. People think that because books aren't being physically destroyed, that it doesn't count as banning them. It's just moving or removing a book is just putting a dangerous thing out of a child's reach. Labeling the sticker is the same as running your censorship. It's just, as mentioned earlier, the implication of a warning. The accounts of transgender suicide and death that the other members of the community have brought to the board are not caused by the very act of being transgender. They're caused by fear and ignorance spread by fear and ignorance. If they believe that being transgender makes a person mentally ill, willing to harm themselves, then it must be a dangerous ideology. Never mind that in a survey done in 2024 of 90,000 transgender people, despite facing workplace and medical discrimination, the people surveyed still reported more life satisfaction and happiness after transition. Never mind that in studies of transgender youth, many reported being happier after receiving some form of gender-affirming care. Never mind that the possibility of seeing oneself represented in literature written for their age could prevent years of depression and anxiety and potentially death brought on by being labeled as something dangerous and deviant. Never mind that these books could save lives for people of all ages down the line. None of this is an exaggeration. Real people's lives are at stake. If we can imagine all the children who would be hypothetically harmed by reading these books, we must consider how many children would be realistically helped. Those who seek to suppress information do not do so because they care or this is not about well-being or protection, it's because they want control. If it was about well-being or protection, they'd leave the books where they are and trust that our education and our experience can make, that we are able to make decisions that will benefit all the members of the community. Thank you.
Physically or verbally, thank you very much. Let's Don Collier.
John Collins.
Oh, Collins, thank you.
Have you started yet?
Yes.
When your first word is what I had.
Okay, I want to thank the board for their openness and their commitment to having an open session where you can ask questions, because this has been a very confusing process. I've been to several meetings, and I feel like I'm in cotton wool. I went home and tried to clarify what I understood with a couple of people who were here with me. They had the same understanding, but I found by talking to a board member that I was not correct. So having these meetings, I think, would be very good, and I'm happy as a patron to volunteer to help coordinate those.
Thank you.
In addition to that, I did hear earlier, and I'm confused about this, a concern about the board being sued and losing and having a fiduciary responsibility and wanting to have a law firm in place that would make sure that they didn't have to pay legal fees, that there wasn't a judgment against them. I understand not wanting to be sued, but I also want to make sure that the board is very aware that I also expect the board to uphold my First Amendment rights and my constitutional rights, along with any fiduciary responsibilities. And I think if you're making decisions that follow the Constitution and are good fiduciary responsibilities, you might be sued, but the chances of you getting a judgment and it being ugly are slimmer. So, thank you.
Thank you. Kim Berger. And
Sorry, what's the call?
3 minutes.
Hi, Kim Berger. I am a resident of Hartland, I come to the library often. I have a 5-year-old daughter. She's been here since she's been a toddler. We come to all the great programs. Thank you so much for what you do there. I will say, I was surprised. I'm very interested in the labeling thing. I've been following for a while. I was surprised tonight to learn that it's not started. I thought we were well into it. So I understand all the reasons. You have a tough job, Sarah. I just want to say, as a community person, I thought we were much further on that. Second thing I'd like to say is, I understand the compromise thing of the labeling, but can I just say sometimes when you compromise and make the bucket so big, it becomes useless. So I will tell you, for me, social issues, and I think Sarah said it, 90% of the stuff is social issues these days. So I want my daughter to be educated. I want her to learn about slavery and all the things that we've done, and those are all social issues. I do not want her at this age to be into sexual content and LGBTQ. I'm not biased against LGBTQ people. I just don't want to teach that to my daughter or expose it to her right now. So you are not helping me by blogging everything into the social bucket. I mean, I still am unable to let my daughter go through the picture section of the books by herself. I don't feel comfortable by that. And by you putting a social thing on there, I'm not a Pollyanna. I want her to learn those things, but I want to be particular about it. So you haven't done anything for helping me to, for some people, I think it's to help them find stuff. For some people, it's help to avoid stuff. But just for my situation, it doesn't help me at all. So I just hate for you to go through this whole big, should it fit in this category, should have this label, and go, yeah, it really didn't help me at all. I can't still let my daughter go there. Okay, that's the thing. What I really want to talk about was a simple thing, kind of related, but I think it was about 2 months ago. Wait a minute.
You're good.
Okay,
Yeah.
about 2 months ago, there's that display right at the bottom of the steps as you go up to the kids thing. I don't know what you call that. It's a glass case. Right now, it just has a bunch of notices and stuff in it. I think about 2 months ago, and I can have the time hold on, there's the weirdest stuff in there, and I don't know what it is, but my daughter to this day she's like freaked out about it, and I thought it was really weird. There's a bunch of old toys or something. All I remember, and there were at least 2 dolls in there with no heads or heads with no bodies. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
I have no idea what that was, but I'm just saying.
it was a Hartland Players display.
Okay, but I'm just saying, it's right where every kid has to go up those steps. Okay, and it was creepy.
High school drama club.
Okay, it was just a little creepy, and even today, my daughter just said, she says, Mom, do you know those, why do they have those dolls with no heads in there, blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying, I'm for protecting kids. My daughter, I don't want to explain to my daughter why there's a display with headless babies in there. And they were like those old time babies, so they look kind of real. It was creepy, I'm just saying. So just, I'm not the decorator around here, just, it should be, put it somewhere else, right? Where every kid has to go buy a bunch of headless babies.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Amber from Hartland.
So accountability matters. This is the third time that I've asked the board these questions without, I feel, satisfactory answers. First, I just want to say I'm really excited for the coffee with board members. But I'd like to see these questions answered on record. First, why was a special meeting called last minute in November on a topic of enormous public interest by the board president? Second, why are religious law firms whose mission statement openly describe advancing particular theological agendas being considered to represent a public library? And I said this last time, but I'll say it again. One of the law firms that was suggested last time, the Ricard et al., does mention explicitly on their website religious affiliation. And that's out of Lapeer. And then pardon me if I missed it, but if you could please define the difference between sexual content and sexually explicit. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Erin from Hartland.
I would like to see Amber's questions answered. I'm very interested in myself. Thank you.
Thank you. Janet Jasnich from the city of Brighton.
I also
connect with the last two speakers and wanted to know, I had something longer, but it's not gonna happen. But yeah, I think we need to say that explicitly the difference between sexually explicit and sexual content. Because even if you say the name of something, like you say oral sex, you still gotta go look it up to find out what that is. And then the funny part is, I think the ironic part is, once you're gonna put that sticker on, oh man, the kids are really gonna come after it. That's what happens with teenagers. I raised 3 kids, I work with teens. You put a label on it, and if you really don't want them to see it, you should just not do anything about it, you know?
Thank you, Jen. Are there any others who would, are there any others who would like to submit a form to address us? If not, we're going to move into agenda items for our next meeting and dates.
Now, did you pick a date for a special meeting?
January.
Now would be appropriate.
We're looking at the 22nd.
Yeah, January 22nd at 7 p.m.
Want to go over the agenda?
Yes.
And that would be helpful, at this point, I think the only thing on the agenda is books. The ones that are, the list will be soon, so that gives extra time, kind of, because it's the holidays. And anything else that has to happen here? No, just that, so a special.
Well, can we, like, we're gonna have to set dates for February, so we can talk about that at the meeting.
Yes. and
Right,
do that.
it's the 22nd.
That's on the agenda already.
Yeah.
The agenda,
Yes.
right.
Okay.
On the special meeting agenda.
It's her, that's why I read all the books
It's on the.
up to this point. It's such a very busy thing here.
Right.
The roles and,
So the
so we're
January,
gonna do that at the January 15th
The
meeting, or
15th.
set the February, or are we
We'll
gonna
set
do
all the
January?
dates for the
right,
year,
50, right,
January. Yeah, because it's the organizational meeting.
right,
It seems boring, but there's a lot of details.
Right.
There is.
yeah.
All right.
I mean, is that, are you good with that, for the agenda?
That's doable for me.
I move we adjourn.
I second.
Let's go.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
Yeah.